There you have it then.
50 people waiting. Awesome. 38 likes.
He wants more. More.
Guys, hit the like button if you haven't already.
I mean, it should be a default. You say hi, you join in, then you click like before we even start, really, shouldn't it? I mean,
Well, we do usually get about 16 or so likes before we even start, so that's good.
you guys know the drill.
Benadryl.
Should we like at first sight of when this thing's scheduled?
Yes.
Which was slightly longer today.
Ozzy Madero's $5. All
Ooh.
hail the Superior Commander and Super Captain Foley. Foley.
We are
Wart
trying.
Okie dokie. Skeleton hands.
Well, I think we're gonna have to add another catchphrase to your repertoire when we reach Discovery, because I don't think we can just have that many. So yeah.
And Olivia Julius, $20.
Ooh.
Awesome.
Gosh.
Sorry I can't be there today, but look, there's a problem. The Jeffries 2 monster escaped again. To put it back in its cage, we're going to need 200 likes and $40 super chats.
Ooh.
Which means $40 each or just $40?
I mean, either way, I'm happy with that. I'll second that motion.
Yeah, I know you can do it. Be crave, be courageous, be brave. Why did I say crave? Yeah.
Crave TV? I don't know. It's on your mind more than any of us.
Probably. Yeah. And Olivia Julius, $5 again. I'll have you know, some of us mods haven't been monster hunters for a whole 5 days now.
Oh.
Foley, keep track of your pug, and this won't happen. Well, there you go. Cool. Awesome super chats. Great way to start out. So thank you very much. 63 people watching with now 59 likes, which is much better. So thank you guys. If you haven't hit the like button. And
basically, what we have to do is say please. In a sense.
Please do it now.
And yeah, we've got episode 9, the penultimate. Arguably a part 1 and arguably a no part. It's just episode 1 or episode 9. But really, it's part 1. But yeah, the end of the first story, as in season. But it is still sort of one big story.
Yes, absolutely. The Trembler, $2. Vindicta versus Chaotica. Dun dun dun. That's good.
I mean, bring Kate Mulgrew back. There you go. Not as Janeway as. Oh no, but God,
Queen Arachnia.
Yeah, it's Queen. You got 2 girls. Is the Chaotica guy still alive? I don't know why it wouldn't be, but I haven't. Voyager. But now,
sure.
But now you're adding so much. Like, oh, now you need these sorts of crossovers that we never thought we needed.
Yeah.
Let's see. Here's
Matthew DeFriedis. I would like to see a cinematic Trekyards episode. Tons of lens flares, filmed anamorphic, and multiple Skype crashes.
I mean, sure. I mean, I do cinematic fan films, so I do try. Is his name not Chaotica? Oh, it's Dr. Chaotica, okay. Played by Martin Rayner, who is English, I guess.
I'll put that against
Martin Rayner. Wikipedia. Where's his Wikipedia?
Jacob says, would you be mad if they went with this style going forward? Absolutely not. I would love it.
Well, treat it like the Orville, whereby not Orville, Rick and Morty. It's like every season we have a cinematic episode. I don't think there's a Wikipedia, which is odd.
81 people here now, 68 likes. It's still really good, but can we get 75 likes? With 83 of you, I think we probably can. So hit the like button if you haven't already.
No idea if he's still alive or not. This is unhelpful. Last thing he acted in was 2015 though, but he's not hasn't done much acting. Huh, okay, well, hey, that was an unhelpful thing. Yeah. But I tried, Stuart, and trying is half the battle.
Something like that.
Yeah, so I'm going to start sharing, it's the other half of the battle. I'll see you in a minute.
All right. Area 51 throws in $5. I'll have to go soon. Just saying hi and cashola. Well, thank you very much, Area 51. Much appreciated. Yes, guys, lots of great super chats today. If you guys want to help out the channel, you can do so by super chatting. It'll get your whatever you super chat read on the air, and we'll talk about it if it's a suggestion or an idea or a question, and we'll go from there. But you'll guarantee to have it read. So if you can, please do. And also, if you want to join the channel at the rank of commander, captain, or admiral, there's that option as well, which is really great. And a lot of people have joined, and it's been fantastic. So if you can, please do. So Brunt FCA puts in $2. Made our 50 quick. I'll do it again at 100. Hashtag make Brunt pay. And the Trembler, $5. I know it's from the trailer, so it's the other end of the episode. But did it lead? But it did lead me to ask again, what happens to the exocomps in the synth ban? Don't know. That's a very good question, and I have no answer for you. Emmanuel, detective. I think the ship porn shots were McMahon personally making a gag of you guys. He was even on your show. Well, we wish that was the case, but no, that was done and in the can before we had him on the show. But so yeah, the synth span was later. Yes, it was. Yes, you can also send PayPal. Thank you, Brent. PayPal to Trekyards at hotmail.com. And that's another great to help us out. If you do send a PayPal, though, make sure you let the moderators know that you sent to PayPal. That way we can read out the PayPal via the email. So you can put your comment or question in there, and we will read it out if you do choose to send to PayPal instead. So there you go.
And of course, join the channel, Stuart.
I already said that.
I'm just doubling down. I'm helping you, Stuart.
I'm
helping you be the best you by mentioning awesomeness of you guys. Because without you, there would be no us, and obviously without us, there would be no you. Because we birthed you all. You're all voices in our head. And if we weren't here, the voices in our head, like Jill and Eugene, they wouldn't be there. You know.
That's very true. It's very true, but it's also true that without us. Oh, haha. Did it die out again?
Only for a second.
Oh, for God's sakes. I'm thinking of just using my goddamn phone. BJ Vincent, $2. Guys, I guess this proves holodeck therapy works. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Depends how you use it. Use it to its fullest or not.
Each person has to do it in a different way. It helped Mariner doing what she was doing, so...
It'd be interesting to see what Burnham's version of this would be. I guess telling everyone she's right, maybe.
Yeah, who knows?
Or maybe the big revelation is that all Discovery Season 1 and Season 2 are her holodeck simulations where she gets to be the godchild that wins every problem. And then at the end of that will reveal she's actually from TNG era and she's actually been in a 2-year holographic recovery program because she's that'd be kind of a fun reveal. Like the anti-Enterprise, where it's actually a TNG episode, like cuts back to TNG. It's actually, the last scene actually her walking through 10 forward in a TNG uniform, walking up to Frakes again, because it's always Frakes, being like, Commander Riker, have we talked to with the Pegasus yet? He's like, am I still on the Pegasus episode? Jesus! We're doing the Pegasus situation for 30 years! Okay, that should be a fan film. That'd be great.
Go for it.
Stuart!
Let's see. We got a PayPal. So
Ooh.
Hold on. Let me read the PayPal. And it is from Susan Graham. She sent $3.19 Canadian. So thank you. And no comment or question, but thank you very much, Susan. We really appreciate that.
Well, I feel the love, and that's pretty amazing. Helps out. But Stuart, so now we've had more time to reflect, more time to think. What is your overall thoughts on Lower Decks episode 9? No, I've got the predictions thumbnail. I didn't change it because it looks the same as the other one. But yes, episode 9, the actual episode.
Loved it. Like I said, this is Lower Decks, the movie, in my opinion, and it's great. I love it for what it is. It's very action-packed, very fun. Makes fun of the movie tropes, which I really like. There's a few times where that happens, and I think it's great. We do get to learn a little bit more about Rutherford and Tendi. Even I would like the backstory for Tendi, but at some point. But hey, maybe we'll get that. Could be that her parents were like major Orion gangsters or something. She really wanted out of it. But anyway, yeah, lots here to unpack, and I love that Boimler finally finds out that Mariner is the daughter of Freeman. I think that's really great. So, yeah, I thought it was fantastic. Really love this episode.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, lots I call out as being potential things to happen. So, pretty happy with that stuff. Like I said, obviously earlier on, it's an episode where it starts really strong, ends really strong, definitely dips in the middle because of its excessiveness. But just in the same way that, Discovery went too far and Picard went too far in certain scenes, and they detract from the overall piece. Like, we didn't need to watch Icho be tortured and shot. That was too far. You only know that after the fact. And so this episode, on second watch, it's less too far, but that's because you're now numb to the violence. You know where it's going, but that's not a good thing necessarily. But, it starts really strong. It's crammed. I think it's probably one of the best episodes for woven in references, because as I said whilst rewatching it out loud, that crash sequence goes from being Star Trek 3 to Beyond to Voyager to Generations and back to Beyond, all in the same sequence. And if you don't know that, it's not a reference, but if you know those crash sequences, you recognise this similar visual language for each different shot, and the Zon reference, and all these little things that it's for the most part they're better integrated. There's no just like, do you remember Khan? I do! He had a chest. Are you sure? Yes, the director said it was a real chest. There's none of that sort of reference. Everything is far more, the way they mention the Enterprise is far more integrated. And it's a very streamlined piece. Obviously, they were going to get better as they went along. I think the quality is as gone all over the place that season. Mostly good, but some less good in terms of references as well. This one is a very streamlined format. It also benefits from just like last week, with it's sort of almost a clip show as well, in the sense that it doesn't need to follow a as cohesive A to B to C plot, because once we accept it's fiction within rules that aren't like solid, anything can happen, and it does many leaps, and it lets the extremes are all played out here, but because we already buy in, it's fine. So you get a lot of creativity by having the conceit of being a holodeck. So it's a lot of really good stuff, just definitely excessive middle, but the growth of the character, assuming it stays, assuming this now fundamentally changes Mariner forever. If it doesn't, it'll detract. If it is that turning point, perfect. And if this is now the turning point of a potential gay relationship with Rutherford and the chief engineer, this will also be another turning point, although obviously bi, because he fancied Tendi, so hey, he's into everyone. Cool, good stuff. So yeah, important episode in many ways, and yeah, still a part 1 out of part 2, and the themes of this week and the story will go into next week, even if the single plot was only a one-off. But boy, do they cram a lot in for that.
Yes. Matthew DeFritas, $5.
Thank you.
This episode was so cinematic, I was expecting a follow-up video from Cap saying, "Here's why JJ's Cerritos sucks." Hashtag callback to the Into Darkness reviews.
Mm-hmm.
That was before Trekyards.
Mm-hmm.
The whole "why does JJ's Star Trek suck?"
Yeah,
or JJ's Star Trek sucks, and here's why.
Yes, thank you. And they were very clever at making fun of it, but also toning it down when they had to. It was they knew the balance, and even there's a shot where they're just going underneath the ship, and there's a lens flare that literally doesn't come from the back of the nacelle where the glowing bit is. It comes from just before that. So there's a glowing blue lens flare that comes from silver metal. That's the joke, isn't it? Like, there's just lens flares in places with no light, because lol. So it's a very meta joke in that respect, which is good. Don't overthink it, Sam. It's still a cartoon. That's by that you can judge anything by it doesn't matter. It's just this. That's not how these things work. They put more effort into it. They don't think it was a cartoon. They think it was a real show. So don't disrespect the show enough to say that, please. It's worth more than that.
Mark Lawrence, $5. Brunt, will that be slips? strips, bars, or bricks. And for the episode, maybe Mariner will wake up now and be more officer-like. I hope so, considering that's she basically told herself that.
Mm-hmm.
If you were such a badass, you would actually try to be a good officer. So,
Although it probably though doubles down on why she got demoted. Plus, that was probably just because of her mum. Maybe every time she ran to her mum, she would do something stupid and get demoted, etc. Because there's been no linkers, there's been no teasers. Now it kind of feels like there's no teasers to why she tried to lower the rank. It all seems to be the best relationship with her mum and or dad.
what's that? Sorry.
Well, we've talked about how we assumed the being demoted was because of a thing that happened, but it all seems wrapped up in relationship with the mum specifically and or the dad. They seem so connected that it'd be weird to think she was on another ship and then suddenly didn't like leadership and demoted. Because if she's here saying the toughest thing is being an officer, well, we're thinking we already were an officer at one point, were you not? And you got demoted, were you not? You know what I mean? It starts maybe it makes that even more confusing, but in like they obviously have a plan, so where's it gonna go?
Yeah, and it kind of goes back to what we speculated at the beginning, where it's almost like because she even says in this episode, if it wasn't for my mom, I would be drummed out of Starfleet. It could be that they saw that happening to her and they decided to get her on her ship, because they make a good point of that as well. The only time we hear the dad, she's on your ship now. So
yeah, so I think they said it was on my ship or one of my posts, and then nope, your turn next because no one else is having it. Nope, last chance.
Yeah.
Yeah, very dense episode.
Yeah.
And it starts off with what I got was very was a Gaddafi toppling statue reference visual, as we get TNG creatures. In fact, I went back and looked, and they're mostly the same, as in visually. They're not quite the same, but I mean, I would still call them Anticons. There you go. They were in the season 1, which we reviewed a long time ago, which is why they're familiar and yet not quite. And they hate the snakes. And these are sort of snake-like. And they
more gecko-like kind of.
Yeah, more lizard. And they even say in the episode, and if this is what they're meant to be, I can't see they aren't. In the episode TNG season 1, they mention how they only eat live food and they beamed aboard animals, and Tasha's saying, I mean, we gave them the meat, and they were like, no, we want it alive. And then Riker's like, well, and then they say, well, I mean, we see you eat meat, and Riker's like, no, it's fake meat. And they're like, ugh, how barbaric. And the two of them just like, okay, crazy. And so the fact that they eat living animals, they're eating living animals here. I mean, it deepens this, and they even say in the episode they're trying to become members of the Federation. And so that it's 25 years later and they're not, that didn't go well. So lovely little TNG bonus retcon, wonderful. What do you think?
Yes. That was great seeing them again for sure. I'm glad that the lizards were a different kind of lizard, and not because they were trying to make peace with those ones. So that's why they were on the Enterprise together.
Well, there was a separate planet. They were fighting, and they were but nearby. These are the native ones. But it also explains why they think of snakes or reptiles so ill. Yeah, because they eat them.
Exactly. Yeah. So I thought that was nice to have the separation there. But Judge 1981 throws in $50, which is awesome. For reaching 100 likes. Lots of love. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
132 people watching, 105 likes. Guys, if you haven't hit like yet, hit that like button.
Well, successful live either way now. Boom.
Brunt FCA, $2, made the 100 mark again at 150. Hashtag like Spike. Thank you very much, guys.
I mean, I've got a challenge at 150. Really? Or at least 125. Gotta get that. Although, let's talk about why for a second. Why is Mariner on this planet alone with a single Argo with no supplies?
Well, as I kind of speculated, she's probably dropped off there to do something completely different and ends up thinking that she's doing her typical thing. She's not following the rules. She's doing her own thing. And she's really proud of this one because, she's stopping them from eating these other sentient beings, and she thinks her mom's going to be super proud of her, and then when mom shows up, it's like, no, definitely not. So I think it was assigned there for some other reason and totally unrelated. And kind of went off the rails a little bit. That would be my guess.
And in one day, they say, the second day, there's now war on this planet, basically. But it does feel, it's such an interesting scene, but she's an ensign. You don't give those people responsibility, really, and an Argo, because you can't just beam an Argo. I guess you could beam Argo, but you tend to take an Argo down. And I guess Riz is in orbit, I guess. I mean, it's a very odd non-situation. It would have been nice if it should said, Mariner, we're negotiating with this guy. Like, we have trade negotiations. Yes, but he's doing this. So it's a bit of a... They obviously had an idea, but there's no information in the scene to kind of give you really what it's meant to be. That's why this scene kind of feels like a holodeck going in. Like a pre-holodeck, because it's so outlandish. There's one woman, without any weapons, is toppling a planet's government. It's a bit, you know what I mean? It's a bit of a holodecky situation. But then again, it's just one guy. It's a weird one. It's fun to watch, but it has all the questions, This could be a whole episode, Stuart.
Yeah. It could be. And you had mentioned why she's just down there by herself. Could be she's with an actual away team that's like 50 kilometers away at this point doing something that they're supposed to be doing. And she just stole an Argo and took off.
Yeah.
And ran into these people and then thought, oh, I got to save them. And then just led to this snowball effect. So
yeah, I just wish I'd mentioned it because it's so, especially since it's such a TNG reference, would have been nice. But yes, the mum is very anti this. Although, rewatching it, she says you can't do this, then Mariner says prime directive, and then the mum disregards it. So actually, it's not... This isn't a prime directive debate, because they're warp capable. That's irrelevant. It's more non-interference. But Mariner throws out the word as if it means something, but this situation is completely irrelevant. So I like that wasn't how I first watched it. And yeah, there was peace here yesterday, now there ain't. That's because of you. But, don't let them meet them. She's like, yeah, it's not up to you, is it?
Yeah. Well, I love how when they mention the replicators, like, do they make pellets? Yes. Yes, they do.
It's the simplest thing possible, you idiot. Ask that first, as the impotence.
Olivia Julius, $10.
Ooh.
We got the super chat goal. Yeah. Can we get 20 likes? The
200.
Jeffries Tube Monster is still out there. Also, we're sending Fleetpot in to try to coax it out with a puggy treat.
Oh. Well, replicated puggy, at least.
150 people watching. We can get 125 likes easily, guys. Come on. Hit that
and
button.
Grid Cube just joined and clicked like. Good on you. Good on you. But the biggest threat possible comes in. It ain't the brig. It's therapy. With there ain't no Deanna. It's a dude who likes fruit metaphors.
And I love how she's like, it's the 80s, dude. We don't have psychiatric problems. When I first heard that, I was like, 80s? Because I think 80s neon. Neon, the 80s I grew up in. But no, it's the 80s. the 23 80s.
Because that was the start of TNG. I guess she means it's not the 80s when we all had counselors on board, even though we do. Because it's not the 80s, it's the... Oh, or no, that's Picard. Picard is 99. No, you're right, it is the 80s.
Yes.
Yes, Picard.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I was, yeah. Because that's the future. This is actually the past now, because we've already gone past this. Then she gets abruptly beamed up. It's like, sorry, guys. Oops.
Well, that's the other thing that kind of bugged me a little bit, because the captain said, Cerritos wanted to beam up. Doesn't indicate who, and then it beams up Mariner.
Kind of important.
Usually you'd have to say the person beside me or whatever, but anyway, not a big deal.
It's a conceit.
She probably the transporter chief probably knew when they were going down that Mariner's coming up right away because the captain's pissed.
It's a conceit of all Trek, though. They say that often. Doesn't make it right, doesn't make it good, but it would have been nice if they just said, yeah, Cerritos, beam Mariner up now. Yeah.
I also like the whole, if you weren't on my ship, you'd be drummed out of Starfleet, and if I wasn't your kid, you wouldn't be such a bitch all the time. So it's kind of got that the confrontations there because they are related. I like that. But would she be a bitch? I don't know. Is she a bitch to the rest of the crew?
No, I kind of got the sense it's like, yeah, they make each other worse.
Yeah.
she's the worst person on her crew, therefore stress, and she's the worst person that deals with her, captain, because she's getting singled out, but also she's giving the worst treatment. They're bad for each other. They really are. They absolutely bring out the worst, which happens all the time. How many shows do we have where half the drama is just them bitching at each other, because as in family, and that's just like that's the drama. It's like, yep, that is a thing.
And Trout Bum Wombat. So is this set before the synth ban? Yes, about 17 or 18 years before the synth ban. So.
Yeah. Because I mean, they mention androids, no problem. So yes, it's all good. It's all good.
Let me get this counselor, which is a bird, which threw me for a little bit of a loop. This took me out of it a little bit because this was very much felt like Family Guy or something. I've never seen this species before. It was just odd, and the fact he's always talking about food for everything. You're being a pineapple right now. What does that even mean? Stop talking about food.
I mean, that joke gets funnier in the captain scene.
Yeah.
Although it makes you think that Troy's office is just garbage. Because this feels like a holodeck simulation room with how nice it is. Doesn't feel like it's on the Cerritos.
Like even the flower pot for the tree has a control on it.
Didn't notice that.
Watering them or whatever, keeping the soil the right.
And I know Troy had her own uniforms, but I don't know. Is he meant to be one of the crew? Is he?
He's a civilian counselor.
Because he's got a Delta. But this is a shitty little ship. Why have they got a counselor? Why is there such a big office? And is he part of the crew? Like he should be. I don't know. Often say to wear a uniform, but I felt like he either should be wearing a uniform or at least a variant of the uniform. It felt. Is it like you said? Like they're taking us out of the show.
Yeah.
And it should have been an alien. I know it's a cool alien race, but it should have been a Bolian, maybe. Like give us a hardcore Trek connection, or even make it a telepath lady. Yeah.
So somebody brought up that psychiatrists are called quacks. This guy's like a duck. So, and I never really put that together, but it's like okay, that's funny if that's the case. Even though he doesn't have a duck bill, he's got a bird bill, which is different. But yeah, this whole scene, just the quarters, his lack of uniform, it just really, I was like, what? This is like totally disconnected from everything else. So I didn't really like that. But
I like the mum scene better because Mariner says, she says it quite angrily, well, very angrily. She's like, I just want her to appreciate me, but says it in a violent way. But it's like, well, don't do what you're doing then. Basically, she says, she's kind of saying, I want the attention of being praised, but I also don't want any attention of being bad. But I can't get her attention for being good, so I've got to do attention for being. So very like basically she's broken. Mariner is a broken character when it comes to her mum and how it's very she's obviously a broken woman in this episode, and this has been the culmination of the entire season. But we have to show she's broken now to show her fix later. You can't have her be medium than medium. You've got to have that harsh contrast. But yeah, she doesn't come across well in this episode until right at the end.
Godspeed, you crazy fucks. Puts in $2. Synth band 2385.
15 years. Yeah, that was funny. You crazy bleeps. See, I don't mind if it's bleeps. Bleeps is a it lets you have you have the cake and eat it too. Yeah.
Then we get Da Vinci shooting some skeet shooting with and yeah, it was Da Vinci, but not he had a few lines, but it wasn't John Rhys Davies, unfortunately. Yeah. So, just kind of a odd call out that it was Da Vinci doing the skeet shooting.
I mean, it's like it could be anything, and so it was something kind of cool. And then Boylan wants the deck, swaps it out. We introduce the Holo crew, and same thing we saw, but then we get and this made me laugh. It didn't make me laugh out loud too much. It was more action than humor. But when he says, "Hey, how you doing, man?" And he's like, "Shut up, go away." And he says, "Oh, we had the conversation an hour ago." I laughed. I was like, "That's a great second
That was hilarious.
Line.
Yeah, that was good.
I was assuming it'd be like, "Oh, that sounds about right," but it's like, "Oh, an hour ago." That's really sad.
And I think Tendi actually might be staring at the boobs of the Trill lady, because in a second she pokes her in the nose too.
Boop.
Like she seems to be more interested in her than the console. So,
I mean,
but the Trembler puts in $2. So 5 years later for synth band, poor exocomps.
Yes. Ooh. Gosh, that darkens up.
Find out. Oh, yeah. So Boimler says, I uploaded 7 years of entries from the entire crew's private logs. And then aren't those private?
Yep.
Yes. It algorithmically created perfect simulation of everybody on the Cerritos. And that's where Tendy's like poking the Trill girl in the nose. I just thought it was interesting. I totally missed private logs earlier. So,
Yes. I mean, they just explain it, and they are like, wait, what? And he's like, yeah. Yeah, he got in. He shouldn't have.
And Brunt, FCA, $2. Shax, I'm pissed off. Yes. So they'd all respond exactly like they would in real life, and Mariner's like intrigued by that. She's like, huh? Really? Is this exactly like? So.
Although, can I and give me your honest reaction? He says that, but that's like patting himself on the back. I think quite a few of the reactions, especially with the engineer, aren't what they would do. They might be in the ballpark, but no hologram is perfect. And so to say exactly what would happen, I think, is probably pushing it.
Well, that's the thing. Even though it's private logs, I don't know about you, but if I've ever written in a journal, I don't necessarily put down everything I'm thinking. Like, you wouldn't get a complete picture of me just talking like from my logs. You get a much more professional kind of thing going on. Even if it was private logs, I probably wouldn't keep very many private logs. So yeah, maybe there just wasn't a lot of information on the engineer. Could be.
Well, but I just mean like we can't take everything in this recreation as actually like what they would do. It's the computer isn't God, except with Moriarty. It can create facsimiles, so it's interesting. But even with that much information, it's not one for one. Although if it was, I'll be also saying that Boimler's a very talented holo engineer, because to be able to create real replicas of everyone is kind of impressive. I mean, Barclay could do it based on that, except he was a talented holo engineer and much higher end officer. Boimler's like 20, so yeah.
And Geordi kind of stumbled on it by accident with Leah Brahms trying to get the computer to make her more realistic. So using all the articles about her, any kind of logs she's done, whatever, correlating all that into her character.
Although, as we know, when he met her, she wasn't anything like the program. So
she was. She was putting on a professional front. At the end, she very much chilled out. So.
But that shows you that it's one version of. So I'm just saying, like, people shouldn't take this as like. That's exactly what they would do. It's like it's what the computer thinks they may do in a situation with these variables.
Yes, and the computer would also know that the mother and Mariner are related because it probably has the medical logs and stuff as well with the DNA sequencing. So the computer would know that anyway.
Well, I'm sure just both of them have said personal log, my bitch of a mum.
Yeah,
as they actually call in this episode.
Olivia Julius, $10. Attention! I'm currently in control of a garbage transport ship. I got in trouble for making a program where the captain and commander host an old YouTube channel where both of them host ship reviews. Sounds like a garbage program.
Which you can watch in 720p on an older version of YouTube and several Facebooks ago, yes. But you know what? Maybe, old stuff. It's all pretty good. Don't know. But yes, speaking of, she opens Arch and she makes a very quick script. And then she, later says she writes a bit and then has the computer extrapolate the rest. And yes, some of the lines are actually lines. Although not all of them, obviously.
Yeah. I tried to get them all, so... I did get them all because I went frame by frame, but anyway. Yeah, it was actually fun that when we did our prediction video, we read that, and then those lines, those scenes were in it.
Such deja vu.
Yeah.
And then it instantly goes to cinematic, and I love the whoop. Nice touch. And there's a lot of film grain, a lot of artifacting, like the visual style. Yeah. They know exactly what they're doing. Scratches, exactly.
Scratches in it, yeah.
And I love the sequence in concept. It's so silly, but it's such a fan film sort of sequence. Because it feels like TMP or Wrath of Khan.
Yeah.
But also like VR, but also with real names of the fake people. And it's him getting hit with it is stupid. It makes no sense, but it's still a little bit funny. But The music's
Olivia's
so good.
here. Olivia is here, so I want to call out what she suggested is that it should have been like Star Trek Mariner or Star Trek Crisis Point, and have Tendi be like, "What's a Star Trek?" I think that would have been kind of funny, especially in this show. But nah, it's okay. Yeah, but the reference to the nice font is mentioned. And that's the TNG font, obviously. So, yeah, really great. And then Zahn, of course, is mentioned, which I think maybe you might not have heard it. I kind of thought I heard it the first time, so I had to go back and listen. But it's actually really well done, and people might be going, "Who's Zahn?" Okay, well, Zahn. The quote is, "That's okay. You were more of a Zahn anyway. To be honest, you probably weren't going to make the final cut." And Boimler's like, "Who's Zahn?" Mariner's like, "Exactly." So Zahn, when they were doing Star Trek Phase 2, or going to be, Nimoy wasn't returning, so they recast. They cast another guy as
and contract Vulcan. And screen test.
Yep.
Committed.
And makeup test. Yep. And he was going to be the Vulcan that replaced Spock. And then they decided to go with the movie, and his character got written out because Leonard Nimoy was coming back. But they used the actor still, and he got killed at the very beginning. He's one of the people that got killed by V'ger. So that was just a great reference.
And then the Star Trek Phase 2 guys included him.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's a very meta reference. It's a very you need to know. Yeah. But I know that like it was such an obvious cool thing. But obviously not everyone knows that. And it actually canonizes Zon in a confusing sort of way, which is great.
Yeah. And even Tendy's like, "I don't know what I'll do in a movie," and Mariner's like, "No, trust me, I've got the best part for you." And she just assumes that because she's an Orion, she's gonna love this part, the Orion pirate part. It's just not the case, and it keeps playing towards it, and then it builds up, and it finally just it boils over. And Tendy
weirdly,
freaks out on her.
In second viewing, you're like, "Oh yeah, she's being a bit stereotypical, isn't she?" It's like, "Oh, the Orion should play an Orion pirate." Yeah. Which is, and then it's just can I be the ship's? We've always wanted to be the ship's computer. Which was an in-joke to someone else playing the computer. And I'm does she actually play the computer? There's one moment when the captain's against the bridge window and the computer says, "Warning, warning, we have crashed." Is that? I think that might be Tendi, because that would make sense, because we know she also played the dog, so she could play multiple roles in the same episode. I feel like that was also her voiceover. I can't be sure, but it would make sense in the narrative. But yes, the angles change. There's a more cinematic style, more depth of field. Although, who's Winged Bingston Jr.? There's a few names I didn't recognise. Who's Winger Bingston Jr.?
Bingston Jr.? I have no idea.
I don't know either. Oh, it would have been great if Mike McMahon snuck his name in here. And continuity director Mike McMahon. You're like, what? What?
Herbs to Megas, $2.
Thank you.
Tendi is curvy, plus showing cleavage equals best episode. Yeah, she was definitely super sexy in this one, I gotta say.
That didn't even occur to me. I'll enjoy that when it comes back up. But yeah, they're going to go get changed, which is very much how classic TNG is. When you want to do it properly, you replicate uniforms and you go in. But Boimler is not doing that. He does not want to be involved, and he says, "Finish off the program. I want all the credits." And Oda. And boy, the art style does change. The harsh lighting, I know, straight away to accent them. And we get scene 1.
And bigger feel, because you're outside, you're in a lake.
Yeah.
It's got that
Fast and Furious
budget.
Yeah. And I guess
Winger is the guy that gets crushed. Oh, he's the one-man show guy.
Which I knew was a callback to earlier. I remember it was the one-man show.
Yeah, but they are on hydro scooters. And it's the captain's birthday. So.
Which it is. But they say, "Oh, we're not on vacation, though. We're on a mission," and then vacation over. So, don't quite understand that. I guess it's just stupid writing internally. Like, Mariner doesn't care about the setup. Because it felt like a nonsensical moment. Does that make sense?
About the not a vacation?
Well, yeah, but they're on holiday. They say, "Oh, it's the captain's birthday," and then we're not on vacation, and then we're on a scientific mission, and then they get called somewhere, and they said, "Vacation's over." It's like, but you just said.
Well, that's the joke.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't funny. It was like I just thought it was bad writing internally. Like Mara doesn't care.
No. It was a joke that just didn't hit with you. That's all.
So what was the joke then? Like
that they were actually on vacation, and she was denying it to the ensign. But then once the thing came up, she's like, "Oh, vacation over."
oh,
Because Boimler was saying, "Sorry to interrupt your vacation." And she's like, "This isn't a vacation." And then vacation's over. Yes, I thought that was funny. Didn't laugh out loud funny, but I thought it was amusing. So
cool. But I do like that Boimler is going against the program. He's just being himself, answering the questions that he's almost used the program as he intended, which are almost the most fun bits to me a little bit, with him being able to, he's breaking the fourth wall of the internal program every chance he can get. And it's fun to see how the program does or does not address his nonsensical internal logic questions. I like, because it's extra thought.
Mm-hmm. Then we get the Douglas Station reveal and the Admiral. This is Admiral Sansors again.
Mm-hmm. But he speaks properly and confidently and all good.
Oh, he only has a few issues with a few words, and he never had to say Sensors today. But yeah, they basically got second contact. The leaders of a deal, and wanted to thank the crew of the San Clemente, and the only problem is Federation doesn't have a San Clemente, so it's basically somebody else is impersonating the Federation, and it's what a mystery. Normally, if this was a real thing, the Enterprise would be sent, but artistic license.
That's a very good Enterprise reference, because he's right.
Yeah.
Unless they weren't in the quadrant, as is often the case. And he even asked the question, and the Admiral's like, who is this guy? And they're just like, oh, hey!
Whose boy is this? He says.
It's fine, don't worry, hey!
Yeah.
No, that's good. And there's so much harsh, weird lighting when they whatever. No, it's good. It's good setup. And again, lots of depth of field, there's lots of dolly. Dolly moves where the camera moves slightly to one side. So a lot of little cinematic things. And they definitely had fun with this. It's less a sitcom, obviously. And then, Stuart, we get the Stuart Foley scene.
Very cinematic music, very lens flary, and very, very ship porny. Yes.
Ship horny or ship porny?
Ship horny and porny, both. Yeah, I like how they said that the Cerritos had just been upgraded or whatever, and you were expecting to see some kind of refit or change. I never even thought that the first time.
I mean, they called out, I was like, it's a brand new Cerritos. I'm like, great. Oh, no, it's the same. But it's more of a just reference to, the Star Trek, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, where we're refitting, we're dry docking, we're repairing. It's the same in every movie. So, but I was excited because it's such a flawed design, especially when they pan over the registry and it looks as if it's the front of the ship. And I was like, oh, that's the change they made. Excellent. No. So, would have been cool though.
Caveat of them entering the engineering hull shuttle bay, which people might not have noticed, but we noticed because Mike McMahon pointed out that there is a shuttle bay at the back of the engineering pod, and it's clearly the one they're going into.
Oh yeah,
because I was waiting for that to see where they went.
Yes.
And but yeah, that was great.
And it's I like the engineer crying. It's stupid but good. He wouldn't do that. That's one of those things where it's going over the top. I don't see that being realistic, but it's funny in the context of a movie, you know. So you can't take it as real because it isn't. And there's definitely a moment in the sequence where they've gone like 3 shots too far, where they should get more and more silly. That spinny top one is like, oh yeah, now we're making fun of it. Yep. But it's good, and they do different angles. Having done rotations of the ship, it does well, and it every time we see the ship though, it's like it's also in space dock that looks right. It's a weird ship, but we are home, so it works, and the ship has some nice stuff to it.
Even the shot of it leaving the space dock or the dry dock, it goes from shadow into light. It just looks really good. And then we get the
very Star Trek
opening
3 as well when it comes out, or 2.
Yes, yeah. We get the door opening with more lens flares,
different turbo
bright
as well,
shiny bridge. Yeah, bright shiny bridge and the gleaming captain's chair.
I don't know if you caught it, but the second she walks onto the bridge, you get the USS Kelvin, J.J. Abrams, start of 09.
Yes. Yep.
Which is a lovely little... It only happened once. And I was like, okay, I see you, Cho. You're being clever, because that's what we're doing here. I like it. You get points.
And then we get, instead of punch it or hit it, it's the warp me. Let's take this puppy off her leash. Warp me. And you get the behind the nacelles. Well, somebody last night was thinking it was suggesting from the motion picture where they were going to have the stuff between the inner chiller grills, the blue, which they didn't do, thank God. But I can get it. I can see that. And then everything flares up, and and you get little fairy dust from the JJ.
Yeah, it'd work if it was in the middle of the cells, but not the outer caps.
Yeah.
Although, as you could also argue, the last Nemesis movie did also warp out with dust particles. It wasn't as colourful, etc. But it was started sort of in Nemesis, but then took it to the extreme. But yeah, and again on that bridge, the harsh lighting. It just changes it slightly. You know, the more shadow, more harsh lighting. And yeah, they warp out. And they warp in. Beautiful looking thing, very cinematic. I was kind of expecting a very Alien style thing where in.
Yeah.
Although I do think the way it warped in was just Discovery, because it's so quick, no flare. That's what Discovery does. So I think it went from JJ warp to Discovery warp. I think that was pretty intentional.
Well, I was waiting for the sound effect for Discovery, and it wasn't there. So,
which is good.
If that would have been there, I would have thought, okay, yes, but I didn't get the Discovery vibe.
I guess I've done so many fan film drop out of warps that I know the timings, and that was way quicker than you do. But yeah,
Front FCA $2. Loved the ship porn shots, beautiful.
And it is making fun of us, but it's making fun with us. These are concepts that we know TMP is too long, but it's still beautiful.
But the music that was overlaid it was really great. That was cinematic. Had the Cerritos little cues in there, but also the movies. It was just so well done. I really appreciated the soundtrack.
It shows how effective, presumably without intentioning, but how effective the score for Lower Decks is. That you can intertwine it with TMP and feel great, because you are seeing all those beats of the same, or those movies, but it goes straight into their theme and it fits beautifully. That's well done, you guys, for getting a theme that is just Star Trek. Good job then. But instantly, Stuart, a ship's decloaking. New Klingon ship, and it's a overacting Mariner, and not Mirror, not whatever, just Mariner having fun. Right?
No Federation ships detected in the system, but yes, Mariner was having a lot of fun, and so I don't.
Oh dear. Oh dear.
There we go.
Hi, Stuart.
Hi. Yeah, she was definitely going over the top, but it was all part of the fun of the movie. She was into her role, so, and that carries over to with her like annihilating everybody too. It's like,
I think this bit's perfect. Like, she's just having fun with it. I think this is good. This fits in well. It's just a bit silly. And she's the Sirius is not a warship, so any ship could take it on, but yet she picked a bird of prey D7 with a ton of weapons, so it's kind of like, we went high end here.
I hate how she said Freeman though.
Freeman.
But Freeman. It's like, wow.
It tells you that she's never been called Freeman. Like her surname was always Mariner, so she has a sense of disrespect for that name. Oh, then Boimler's like, oi. Which is fun, to be able to pull out the narrative for a second and just have him comment is fun. But then we get introduced the entire bridge crew of the Klingon ship.
My 3 henchmen.
Yeah.
Of the Vinpocalypse. Tendi, my savage warrior queen, who comes from a long line of thieving Orion pirates. And she looks very uncomfortable. Yeah, nobody messes with the Orions. They steal from everyone, never give it back. Theft. And but Bionic 5 half man meat, half robot meat, all pain.
Yeah.
Tremble at the sight of the great Vindicta, he says. And then Shempo. He's supposed to be played by Boimler, but
Is that a reference to anything in particular, Shempo? I didn't quite... Is it meant to be anything, or is it not really?
Shempo is probably like a mix of the Three Stooges and something else. I don't know. But the fact that it's somebody else playing Boimler, it kind of goes back to the Zahn actor almost, because he played a different role in the motion picture and then dies right away. And he dies right away here.
There we go. That is very true. I like that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's a reference to the Three Stooges Shemp. So, whatever. But yeah, it was hilarious. It was hilarious seeing this scene. I really appreciated Mariner's acting here.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's just fun. It's movie over the top.
Yeah.
And yeah, Tindy's good. She's going with it for now, but not quite. Rutherford's having fun, or this is his only badass moment, which is kind of apt. You know, he's in it until he really has a better idea.
But Shempo brings her coffee instead of tea and pays for that.
I know this is a Star Trek 3 reference, or Star Trek... Yeah, 3 reference, where Krug shoots his helmsman or weapons officer. It's like, really? Okay.
Yeah, fire warning shot.
Yeah. And I guess
but yeah, I was Shempo, he says, as he disintegrates. And everybody's like, oh, poor Shempo.
The thing is, the way it's played, you think he's a real person because he's a friend that took over Boimler's position. Because the way he introduced himself is like a real person. And then she kills him, so it was like, so he was a hologram? He was a fake person? Why not just have him be Mariner then, or Boimler? You know, I was confused by the way he was introduced, like, this is the friend I have to replace you. But no, it's just a hollow person. There wasn't really much point in having the character, to be honest. Except everyone's reaction of like, oh my god! But again, Krug, Star Trek 3, so it's nothing too radical.
But then she starts quoting Shakespeare. And wait a minute, is she quoting The Tempest? And then we get the boarding pod thing that cuts into the hull, and then the recording starts skipping. So, oh my god, it's a recording!
Which was fun. Which was fun. I like that little twist. And yes, they come in. Oh no! And yeah, one man show guy. Although it's interesting how the
winger gets killed. Yeah,
it's interesting how the lady's like, "Hey, you don't know me, but I'm this person." It's like, oh, you know, even the crew this size, you know, 100, 200 people, you can still not know people. Except obviously it's a fiction within a fiction. But yeah, it's just like, oh, this guy got brutally killed, and then the holograms disappear for some reason. You know, they get slammed with it, and then the dead bodies disappear. That was a bit odd. I guess it's I guess it's a no gore filter, but there is gore later. Oh, why?
It could be just a video game trope where you kill a body and then go around the corner and come back and the body's gone, or something. I don't know.
Yeah, just yeah. So they do lots of different versions of death in this one, which don't necessarily all link together.
The Tremla throws in $5. Shemp, replacement stooge for Curly. Replacement. Okay, that's why. Yeah. Also, someone already mentioned Freeman might also be a Half-Life game reference.
I guess, but they'd say Gordon Freeman. I mean, that's her name anyway. So I get, yeah. And guys, 184 people watching, which tells me that you guys are, you know, these reviews obviously change depending on how many people like them. So I'm guessing a lot of you like this episode and are excited for the penultimate and then the ultimate, the last episode. So brilliant. But still, we're only at 142 likes. I said 150 would be a good goal. I'm not quite there yet. So how many people need to click like? Do you want right now to click like?
Well, we can get 160. I'm going to up yours by 10. Okay. So another 18 people. Hit like right now. If you haven't already, hit it. You know you haven't hit like, so hit it.
And that's
I missed a super
10% of people. That's it. Only 10%. So will you be one of the 10% and click like? I think you will.
Let's at least hit 150, but we can hit 160. There you go. Demas Alves, $10.
Oh, damn.
Evening, gentlemen.
Hiya.
Just arriving, so gonna rewind.
Okay.
So hello in the future, in the past.
Hello from the past. Yes.
Whatever. Our future, your past. No. Yes.
The universe is present.
This was a good one. I really enjoyed it. I hit like. Now off to your past to watch from the beginning.
Good stuff.
There you go.
Thank you. We hope you enjoy as we're enjoying chatting.
And I
to
love
you
how we
all.
read yours. I love how we read yours just as they were boarding the Cerritos. So just as you were boarding our live,
Yeah.
it's perfect timing.
But speaking of perfect, what do you think of Mariner's many-barreled phaser, which we don't really see?
Cool. It's kind of neat. A little excessive, but kind of neat. And Tendi looks fantastic. I was kind of too distracted by Tendi in these scenes anyway
Oh.
to notice, but no, it's like a Gatling or a multi-barreled phaser of some sort.
I mean, you get the sense she's not in this for the fight; she's in this for the victory, because that's an overkill weapon.
Oh yeah,
Like she literally murders the entire hallway pretty much in one blast. And she's very excited, like woo!
I
Wow.
love how the cape gets stuck to so much fabric. All I thought of was the Incredibles. No capes.
Yeah. Yeah, and that was weird when we were in such a dark scene to use that bit of
Yeah,
levity.
yeah.
But also I could see it happening, so I was like, okay, cool. And then we get quite an epic phaser fight. Like for what it is, it's pretty epic. And she hand-to-hand fights with the guys with an accent. Although also then cuts to them, the two of them, the Tindy whatever, with a phaser, but the arm is all wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got I've got the phaser they should be using roughly at the time, and you can see it's not like handle here. So I don't know, because they're not holding it, like that's not how it looks. And so yeah, another phaser variant, I guess, because it's not right. And they've seen phasers where they're flat. That's weird.
And Rutherford's tattoo is cool. It's kind of a mix between the Mandalorian tattoo or the Mandalorian symbol and the Punisher. So.
You know what it should have been though? Should have been the warp core.
Oh,
Like,
yes.
I'll get a tattoo. I'll be a badass tattoo. Warp core. It's like, well, it is a tattoo of a geeky thing. Yeah.
Cuban writer, $10.
Hey!
I'm not entirely sure, but I think Vindica's, was that her name?
Vindicta.
Weapon was the first compact submachine gun or auto fire weapon I've seen in Trek. Wonder if this is real or holodeck fantasy. I'd say probably a mix of both. There's probably something that's similar, but she ramped it up a bit.
Yeah. I mean, I would certainly guess it was just said computer create for me a phaser that can kill. No, I think it's fictional, but well, there's a Gatling gun in Elite Force 2. That's what my brain goes to straight away. But I mean, the Enterprise Pulse can fire incredibly quickly, so hand weapons are very effective. And then we get the moment where because they beat up and kill someone they know personally, which don't phase them at all. And they say, "Oh, great accent! You got them really right."
Yeah,
Sounds
you got it right. Yeah.
Sounds as if so is the crew here? It's like, yes, the crew's obviously here. I can go tell my chief engineer I've always thought of him. And we're like, what? So I was like, oh, what's he gonna do?
Well, you think he's gonna go tell him off, right?
Or kill him as killing.
Yeah.
No. Oh.
But yeah, and then she turns to Tandy and says, "Pirate it up! Come on, take some slaves."
Yeah.
And then she's like, but the whole Orion taking slaves thing, it's not something I really like to." And then she gets cut off.
Dirty Orion. It's like, oh.
Yeah, Lundy says, "You dirty Orion," and he gets phasered.
Not great. Not great.
Well, yeah. And then, of course, Ransom shows up, and he's like, "This isn't my first overpowered space warlord, and it won't be my last, but it will be." Squadra Course puts in $2. Is the alien skull tattoo a Renegades reference? Ooh, power supply.
Oof. I mean, hey, close enough but no cigar means close enough to get through the reference sensors.
Then Boimler shows up. Ransom gets shot, and he's like trying to, of course, get the information he needs for his interview. And he's like, "Quick, what's your favorite type of what's the captain's favorite type of cookie?" And he's like, "Oh, that cookie's good call. I tried that myself. I've done that myself a few times, but be very careful. She's allergic to," and he gets disintegrated. And of course, Boimler is not concerned about him at all. He's more worried about allergic to what, which was funny. Very much a con moment, but allergic to what? And then we get the engineering room, and Again. Oh man, Rutherford and this guy are hilarious. Everybody gets evacuated from engineering except for Billups and obviously Rutherford.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, "I think you're the best engineer. You think you're the best engineer in the fleet. Well, I've had something I wanted to say to you for a long time. You are the best engineer in the fleet. But if he was, he would be on the Enterprise. So it's obviously not true.
That's
It's true from Rutherford's point of view.
Yes, I mean Rutherford's also an ensign. He has a very bad frame of reference, relatively speaking. No, it's great, and this is a correct and well done subversion of expectations, because you assume, obviously, that he's puts pressure on him, and there's a sense of, oh my god, but just like you would hope Rutherford is, he's just a really nice guy.
He loves engineering,
and he doesn't want to embarrass anyone. Doesn't want to make anyone feel weird. So if he can tell the guy that repercussions, he's gonna tell him you're bloody amazing, and it plays off beautifully. Especially considering as he walks in, he loses the phases instantly, so it tells you he's not into fight. They're things he doesn't want to hold. Like it doesn't matter. It's great.
And in keeping with the movie tropes, how they kind of tone down or dumb down technobabble for a movie audience as opposed to the show. Yeah. So there's an interesting line of dialogue. It says, rerouting the vent system would take a whole team. If we bypass the indica controls and suppress the sativants, it should function as a rudimentary plasma filter, which was a great call out to anybody who knows what indica and sativa is. It was just great because they were still doing technobabble, but it was very much dumbed down. And I find that the movies tend to do that in their dialogue as opposed to the show. So that was great.
And actually, we've got 188 people, 159 likes, so one more like. But I'd like to get a little quick poll here in the chat, since it's only 109 people watching. Don't have to super chat, but if you want to, you can. Just put in the comments if you liked, dislike, meh this episode. I'd love to get a sense of what the audience here is. Obviously, we're enjoying this so far. Lots to talk about. Every scene is very rich. But I'd love to, a lot of people just put in. Loved it, liked it, meh, didn't like it, and obviously we'll get a sense of people. Just throw them in.
Darth Maul says California has legalized marijuana. That's probably exactly what they're referring to. But I just thought it was great. I heard them right away, and I'm like, what? I had to go back and listen again.
Yeah, I just thought it was techno. I didn't think it was. I didn't get it be anything else. That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Hey.
No, it's just different strains of weed. So
I would not have known that. So that's cool. No idea.
Philip Ingram puts in 10 euros.
Thank you.
Star Trek Lower Decks still AWOL in Germany. Damn it, equals frustrating. Lends speculation to difficulties in being picked up for a wider audience, just like short treks. Yeah, I'm kind of really disappointed that they haven't pushed it forward for a worldwide audience, but
because there's no way you can argue that it's not people not wanting it. 9 weeks in, 9 more weeks, and not a single international distributor has taken it. That's on CBS, not on them. It would be picked up somewhere. And they also had another year. A year and 9 weeks to get it done. That's 100% on CBS and the team. It's the best Trek show since 2005, if not arguably Voyager. So it's a shame, but it's all on CBS.
Almost like they're setting it up to fail.
Yep. Because it's real Trek. It's real Trek, so we won't get people to see it. And they're like, therefore, oh my god, it has bad ratings. Oh no, we have to cancel it. And people don't want this. They want JJ and Discovery Trek because look, the viewerships are 10 times higher. Yeah, because more people can watch it. So yeah, frustrating. But I mean, hopefully Blu-rays will fly off the shelves. Hopefully we full of such features. Because this show is supposed to be a 7-seasoner. Discovery
Go
definitely
buy it on
doesn't.
Blu-ray, guys.
And I don't want to see 7 seasons of Picard. I'll be honest, I just don't. This 7 to 10 seasons. Go for it. Go.
Tenchi 2K7 $2. Loved it. There's a bunch of other loves and likes and
let's have a
comments there.
Let's have a look. Loved it, very self-aware. Yep, good comment. But this is one of the few ones that can go that extra step. Oh yeah, and there's the Vulcan was back. Yeah, even though he died.
Yeah.
And I would.
He dies soon.
It would be great though to go back and look for individual characters and then be able to say, oh, they appeared in these 4, this 6. Cause you recognize them. They're legitimately doing a very good job at making memorable-ish background people that you do recognize.
Yeah.
Which is great.
Brunt FCA throws in $5. Straight from the bribe I got from Quark.
Oh.
Here's some latinum for hitting the 150 mark. Can we hit 200? The Jeffrey Soup Monster wants dessert. Or at 162 with 191 people watching, which is great. I know we can get to 200 with 191 people.
Yeah.
At least 175, but 200 is within reach. So guys, hit it. Let's get to 200. Help us out.
Although Sleaze Mr. Y says, love this episode. This is probably one of the best Trek episodes of all time. Now that I've heard from a couple of people, I don't understand it at all. Because it doesn't have any of the morals, messages, meanings, really. It doesn't have any of the look at ourselves. A little bit. It's a parody of the J.J. Abrams films with the action, violence, and drama. Why would it be one of the best? I guess if that's what you look for. But, I mean, what do you think, Stuart? Is this one of the best episodes of all Trek?
It's up there for being Trek referencey. Yes. References a lot of different Trek tropes, especially for the movie ones.
But if that's the criteria,
I can see why people might say that if that's what they like, the more flashy, Star Trek.
I mean, I assume then, what is your name? Sorry, Sleaze My Europe, that you love J.J. Abrams films, you love Discovery and Picard. I've got to assume that, not to say you're bad, but those things obviously have more of this. They're all more flashy, or more lens flare, or more actiony. I'm assuming you don't like TNG as much. TOS probably more because it's more actiony. Although if references are your determining of quality, and all of Lower Deck should be some of the best Trek of all time. Most of Trek is just telling a good story with maybe a reference, whereas this show is a story with references around it. But yeah, that's
Captain RGD is Samantha gay or bi? What does it matter? We'll get into that when we talk about that in a minute, but anyway. BJ Vincent throws in $5. Best line from Trax, carrying a mega phaser. Again, I call it a phaser railgun. When you get to hell, tell the Pa race that Shaq sent you. Special delivery straight from Bajor.
I missed the last bit from Bajor.
And if you had been there for our predictions video, we actually read that line out. So, because it was on the screen.
Although I guess I would prefer if you didn't say hell. Is there another version of hell in Bajoran mythology? But I always like hearing par rates. I don't like the par rates particularly, but I always like them being referenced. It's such like you got to understand what they are to use them. So I certainly like that.
Sergeant Roadkill, £2. Found the entire episode weirdly heartwarming. 5 fives.
It's amazing how a final moment can change the entire episode. That's called clever writing. When a payoff can improve the setup. Doesn't always happen, but it can happen.
Brunt FCA $2. Challenge issued 200 likes or the monster eats me. Well, we had 167. So
now we have to. We have to now. Oh gosh. I mean, we can't let him
We're
die.
only 8 away from 175. I mean, 8 people hit like. Come on, let's do it.
Yeah, I get most of the jokes. Thanks, White Whale. Yeah.
Cuban Writer $5. I did not think much of the new Trek movie stylistic choices when the movies came out, but seeing them referenced satirically in the episode was funny. Yes, I agree with that.
And the thing is, by integrating references in this way, which most of the Trek shows have never done, except like Into Darkly, where they're trying to, it's showing a level of script writing, polish, universe building, and attention to detail. Because you've got to think about every one of these references really deeply to make them make sense. And Stuart, guess what? For me, I don't think they've broken canon. Like, all these references, I think they're all additions. They've never been like, oh, that's not canon. Whereas in Discovery and Picard, things they try and add often are like, well, but they're not part of the Federation yet, or this, and this. But this show they think it through. They don't let things slip into the show that don't make sense in the Trek world. And so, it's a clever show by that metric in a lot of ways. And yes, last credit in the scene, the engineer, as this is a program to show you what these guys will do. He does get his entire engineering crew out of the room by sacrificing himself in it. Tells us something about what he may or may not do. He's team first, which is nice. And then you get Trax, and I was intrigued in the half second with the destroyed door. I was like, okay, interesting visual, and then you see the visual, and it's like, oh.
Yeah, it's
gun.
absolutely great. Like a phaser beam the size of a door coming out. We get the Borg head, which can shield them and then be used as a bomb. Very interesting use of a Borg head. And again, that's something that's very movie tropey.
Yes.
I don't think you'd see that in an episode by any means.
Doesn't make sense, but you understand what it's doing.
Yes.
It just doesn't make sense. You could make it make sense, but like without a massive explanation, it doesn't make sense. But it's still fun. And I don't know if the Strax gun looks like it's got the back of the warp engine a little bit on the front, kind of like the Beyond Enterprise, the way it kind of goes in.
Yeah,
kind of has that vibe to it. It's almost like a big ass nacelle. And what do you think of the Borg head? It's such like a wait, what? What do you think when you first saw it?
Didn't really think anything of it. I was just like, well, that's silly. So
it's cool. It's cool though.
It is.
If
I mean,
silly.
they do have shielding systems, so I mean, it makes sense that regard. And then I'm a bomb.
Yeah, that was dumb, but yeah, and then Strax is brutally destroyed.
Doesn't say I'm a bomb. Sorry, designation explosive.
And exploded. And this is obviously the moment the episode knows we went too far on purpose, because this is incredibly gruesome. Not only did she blow the guy up and not disintegrate, but into horrible blood. They're both now covered in blood, which is warm and gooey. They're also, well, I guess it confirms Bajoran's have red blood, but that's from in DS9. But they've got a piece of his ear, and she's savouring it, and Tendy's like, he's like, I know that guy, and this is not okay. And then
and isn't it a religious thing? And plus, there's still part of his ear on there. Like, ugh.
Yeah, but then she almost accepts it. She's like, "Oh, come on, Ted, you're all right." She's like, "I'm not. Go away. Shut up." And it's fine. I'll just be a generic pirate then. It's fine. And then he goes another step.
For your information, many Orions haven't been pirates for over 5 years, which is great.
That made me laugh out loud, certainly, because you not been Orion for at least hundreds of years. 5. That's great. That's so not long time ago. Yeah.
And SWTX Chaser $2. Is that canon now? At least you got the 2 cannons spelled right. So
hey, well done.
Appreciate that.
Stuart will not go on his spelling rant. You did it. You did it.
Brunt FCA $5.
Yes.
Borg head reminded me of Matt Smith's last episode as the Doctor. He carried around a Cyberman head for the entire episode, except it didn't explode.
Yep.
Yeah.
Never
thought about that. The Trembler $2. Strax has a STO minigun with wide beam secondary fire.
Yeah. Absolutely. And then you get and this is again where it definitely turns. She's like, and now let's gonna, come on, just stay around until I shoot the captain, or next we're gonna go attack the Doctor. Doesn't know the Doctor's name first of all, doesn't care, and she's gonna go torture her. And Tendy's like, no, that's Dr. Da-da-da. I've got her name too.
Anna.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous, because there is a difference between, going through a level and shooting versus torturing somebody. And Tenny's like, no, you crazy bitch. This is way too far. You're enjoying it too much. What we're all thinking as an audience, at least some of us are. And she, peace outs. And with a beautiful de-holodecking, which is great. Attention to detail. And it also swaps from the perspective of inside holodeck, different color grading, depth of field, out the holodeck, flatter, full screen, and straight back in. Beautiful. It's such a simple trick when you barely notice it, but it is there. So well on them.
Yeah, even when you see the open door from the corridor, there's black bars on the top and the bottom.
That makes no sense. I love that. It's so ridiculous. That's great.
Full gore CZ. Puts
Well done.
50.
Let me.
Krona.
Hold on. Things running a bit slow.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Anyway.
Checking. Check Krona, and that's £2. Okay.
Awesome. What message did Trials and Tribulations have? It's not always about that. Plus, the whole good side, bad side, internal struggle is a message.
It doesn't always have to. Didn't say that. I'm just saying, that's often what Trek is, especially TOS. That's what classic Trek is. And then yes, the internal struggle is a message. It's just it's surrounded a lot of unnecessary violence.
Well, I love how she doesn't give up at when Tendi leaves, and she's like, she goes anyway up to the bridge. And actually, when I was getting the screen caps for the subtitles here, the ones just as the bridge scene starts, there's a little cigarette burn in the top right hand corner, little circle, which is to indicate a new roll of film at the theater. So I didn't see it before this. I don't know if you have it on your end with those pictures that you got there, but it's pretty great.
Yeah, it's something you do in CGI. You actively damage the final image because it looks more real, and it was very effective. It gave a lot more texture. And then someone said that they thought when Mariner comes in and she's holding up somebody and they disintegrate, which is an odd thing to be doing, but hey ho, that it was a Discovery reference to when Burnham fought the person in the Mirror Universe and killed them and the door opened. I wouldn't say it's a direct reference, but it's certainly introducing the captain to the character. It's like, yep.
I'm gonna send you the screen cap I'm talking about because I think you should see it. It's funny.
On what medium?
Messenger.
Okie dokie. Yeah, she walks in, and this is where I was expecting Mariner to change the program and have her say, "Computer, allow Captain Freeman to know who I am," because it does feel a bit odd for her to keep yelling at her mum as if she knows, as if it's the mum, the daughter. But she's not thinking. It shows she's not really. She's in the zone, but she's in a different place. So I was kind of expecting. I don't know if you were expecting that, but it kind of feels like until other Mariner turns up, it feels almost like a waste of everyone's time. You know. But like it's part of the narrative, just like
she's letting her hate flow through her.
Yeah.
she's in the zone.
Even though the mum's like, "What are you on about?" She's like, "You were never there for me." She's like, "What?
I don't even know you."
Yeah. And she's like, "I'm not the bad guy." She's like, "You are. You're literally the bad guy." Which is great. That's great. But also shows how Mariner is broken because she's saying things that don't make sense. I
sent you that picture, by the way.
Okay, yeah, she's consumed with stuff, but I don't think she even knows how to express what she's feeling either. You know, she's just saying stuff because I don't think she doesn't treat all like the bad guys because you misbehave. It's kind of a weird one. Boy, that's a thing you just sent me. That's real weird.
It's a cigarette burn in the corner of a real film, which
I assume it's just like literally for a frame as well.
Yeah, it was probably 2 frames, just because there's one, then there's a clear frame, then there's another one. It's a beep beep. It does it on movies. Anyway, that's pretty great.
Very great.
But she decides to, after the whole, "I'm not the bad guy. You're literally the bad guy."
That's great.
She decides to blow up her ship.
Yes, I do like how crazy she is here. It's definitely entertaining to watch. And oh no, Stuart, we lost the new ship. We lost the new ship.
Oh wow, it was explosive and awesome. And
boy, the way it hits the Cerritos is such a good effect. Damn. Thing's on fire. And then we get a mixture of Star Trek 3 burn up in the atmosphere, which then cuts to Beyond, which is the back of it. The kind of a first person going in, to then the ice mountains of Star Trek Voyager, and it hits a mountain. And the nacelle breaks off, which I just realised that also happens in Voyager. Then it goes through trees, like Star Trek Generations, and then it crashes and stays on its side, like Star Trek Beyond.
The whole time rolling like a wheel, which is awesome.
Which is also awesome. And it's such a well-shot sequence. It looks really good. And to literally credit every single crash sequence in Star Trek history in one crash and feel organic is so well done. I'm not going to say it's the best crash sequence ever because it's a one big joke and it's very bitty, but it's a great sequence. It's really filmic.
Yeah, definitely a mix of a few different things, which was great.
All of the things.
But then we get the computer alarm, warning, the ship has crashed, warning.
I think that was the actress that plays Tindy. I gotta think it is.
Well, maybe. And
is she on the MSD? Because she's not on the bridge window. No, but she's on the bridge window. But the next scene, she's not on the bridge.
I know this was confusing for me.
Okay.
She's on the view screen. I'm not calling it a bridge window because I don't see dirt underneath it or anything. It's clearly black, which means it's a view screen. It's got power. Anyway, but it's always a view screen for me. It'll never be a fucking window. Even if it was a window, it'd still be a view screen.
I like it. I know that's the back MSD that's cracked. It's just visually very confusing because it's the same. Yeah, it's this MSD, isn't it?
I think it's one of the side MSDs because there are ones on the side too.
Yeah, but she's
Yeah,
looking
it's weird. It's weird the way it's positioned and stuff.
and the way she gets up. Okay,
yeah.
she's standing on the view. Yeah, I mean it is weird, but it does a very good job at making you feel disorientated as she does, which is good.
Well, yeah, even later when they're jumping around the bridge and hanging onto the chairs and stuff, it's really cool the way it's. But they cut to another thing first before that. But her just saying, first of all, Mariner saying, "I'll give up on the whole loving captain act."
Yep.
It's not an act. I'm overflowing with love and affection.
Because the mum wouldn't say that, but it's proving a point of like, I mean, she can be a good captain, in the right situation. So I definitely think she became a better captain this last scene. Obviously, fake. And guys, we are only 25 likes away from 200. That's great. 183. $17 of super chats away from a lovely round number. And this is a really good way of starting the new month for us, because last month wasn't so good. This is already a great start. So $17, 25 likes. Likes are free. Click like.
That's right. And the Trembler threw in $5. So glad traditionalist Orions aren't erased. I hope Cerritos meets Tendy's aunt, who is traditionalist pirate queen. Tendy finds her so impressive.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And her younger brother's like the resident like video game expert on Orion. And we're like, hey, we can be video game experts too. No, so much potential with all these characters. They really are.
Then the next scene is engineering, and they're actually on the engineering door. So again, the ship is facing down, which I like. And
oh, you like this, don't you, Stuart? You like this little moment.
Which little moment?
The
massive beaming.
Yep.
What's he say? I initiated a rapid repeating emergency transporter sequence and beamed the entire crew before we crashed. What? That's impossible. No, it's a movie. You can beam whatever you want. You can do all sorts of cool beaming stuff in movies. And that's really true. Because they have to save the day somehow.
And it's definitely a fun conceit. I mean, it
made me laugh. This part made me laugh.
And it doesn't matter. Movie. At the end of the day, it really doesn't matter how this fictional crew beamed off. You know what I mean? So yeah, I was fine with that. And it's Rutherford being good, you know?
Yeah. And then we get the fight between Mariner and Mom.
It's a good fight. It's a pretty well choreographed, well shot, more movie-like fight.
We even get Mariner in bondage. She gets strung up on some.
Oh.
Wow, that's what I saw. But yeah, here's where she says, "You've been a jerk since I was 8. Why do you have to be so hard on me?"
Yep.
So we got a distinct age here, and Samuel and I were talking about this earlier. We're probably gonna do a video on it. But I think that might have been the incident that maybe her mom and her dad divorced,
or separated. Super non-clear.
And maybe the captain, Freeman, she blames Mariner a little bit for that, and maybe was a little bit harder on her, took it out on her. Who knows? It's worth discussing. So,
because we know nothing, but that is a very specific reference, and also says that she thinks Mum's to blame, because we know Mariner's at least in her 30s, based on everything we've seen. So that is over 20 years ago, and she's still. Like, she remembers the day it feels like that her mum changed.
Yeah, exactly.
And that is a big thing to hold on to. So this pain, that's why this episode works once you get to the end and then repeat. Because in the middle, you think Mariner's an awful person for what she's doing. But because clearly the stuff she has to deal with is so deep and so long and so much shit she has to deal with her mum, that you get why it's always pen progression. Once she's in the zone, she's got 20 plus years of shit to deal with. And that's why the catharsis at the end is so powerful, because it's way deeper than we ever thought. And that's why this episode really enhances the Mariner storyline once you get to the end, where we still don't know anything. It's a very cleverly, it's a puzzle piece is put in. Like, we've had a piece of the face, but where the hell is this puzzle meant to be? I don't know. I can't tell. I haven't, you know what I mean? So it's very interesting.
Yeah, and like we said, the age 8 is very significant, because if there was just because her dad and her mom were both captains, or her dad was an admiral when she was younger, whatever, and they were pushing her to be the best she could be her whole life, there would be no reference to ever since I was 8. Like, it's a moment in her mind that she just remembers her mom started being hard on her. So yeah, it's definitely an interesting puzzle piece, as you said.
And Exango 76 says, safety's off, Rutherford is bloody. No. If the safeties were off, they'd have died in the warp core explosion.
Exactly.
So the safeties are fine.
Yeah.
That would have
Ryan Hannigan puts in $5. Nothing to add, but here's all I can afford for my disability check. Oh, thank you. Don't be spending your disability checks on us.
No.
That's definitely something that you need to for yourself. So.
I mean, thank you. Super chats are like a bonus
Absolutely.
thing. But hey, you put in the normal comments what you thought of this episode. We'd love to know your perspective. We'll read it out. We'll keep an eye on what you think, and hope you're having a good day.
Yeah. So yeah, there'll probably be a video of us talking about this at some point in a little more detail. But I love how they're crawling up the side of the bridge using the side panels as a ladder, and then using the chairs to like hop across, which was really great.
And this is something that you could do in live action, but it'd be complicated green screen. But this is the opportunity to do this really elaborate, hard sequence. And because it's so out of the normal Trek zone, just like, that is a movie. No, do they completely wreck the bridge, but completely inceptioned it with change the axes. So yeah, very, very cool to watch, for sure.
And Brunt FCA $2 made 175. I know there's 25 more likes out there. We have 180 people watching right now and 180 likes, which is a great ratio. But people come in and out all the time, so I know there's people out there that have not hit the like button. So hit it. Yeah. 20 more people, we can get to 200.
I mean, it should be easy. You know, should be easy.
Then we get Mariner, Vindicta. She's got the thing. She's about to
now,
kill her mother.
What does she say here? Because she says a couple of little lines. I'd like you to tell us at this moment of epic. She's about to win-ness. If you can.
The subtitles say nothing. All it says is laughing.
Ah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then Mariner shows up. Get off my mom, you bitch. And it's like, oh, wait, what? Boimler, you simulated me in here too? Not cool, man. I got private stuff in those logs. And she emergency transports out her mom, which is very kind of reminiscent of the beginning of the episode where her mom beamed her out for a totally different reason. But, you know.
Well, a couple of things here. Obviously, the aliens reference was great. It works.
The aliens reference?
Get away from her, you bitch.
Oh.
Aliens, Ripley.
Never thought about that. Never thought about that.
Although, that's interesting. And this must be a subtle... Okay, so when other Mariner's pushed away, she's still got deltas on her boots. So even though she's wearing and who the hell would notice this, but even though she's wearing an anti-Starfleet costume, she still is wearing Starfleet deltas on her boots. That's a subtlety of, I'm still in this as Starfleet, like, mentally. That's a weird reference. That's interesting. Anyway, and then...
Cuban Raider, $5. This episode really demonstrated how animation opens up the FX budget to do anything.
Yep.
1,000% yes.
And yet, they kept it grounded, almost literally, and not too... Because unlike Badgie, this never went cartoony. It went... Would you agree with that? It stayed...
Yeah, it went movie budgety.
Yeah. Yep. And this is absolutely... This is the perfect balance of wow, but not... That's Rick and Morty cartoon. You know, and I was surprised that she was surprised that Mariner was in the program. Yeah. Because that tells us that also Boimler, Tendi, and Rutherford are in the program somewhere. Because
but we never see them.
Never see them. I mean, it's not important to the story, obviously, but you wouldn't have just made one.
Yeah.
So I guess they all got killed. And then the beam out I thought was very much, Data.
Yeah, well, I can see Boimler. I can see Boimler not programming himself into his simulation to get ahead.
Oh yes, yeah, I suppose. But Rutherford and Tendi for sure.
The Trembler, $5. Could be Mariner rebelled in elementary school and parents started punishing her. Several possibilities. Yeah, but what would cause her to flash out all of a sudden, or have her mom all of a sudden start being hard on her? Just there's got to be something there. So.
And Sleesmer says, I felt the crisis point could be a yearly thing. I said this at the start. we essentially do a holodeck movie each year, like Treehouse of Horror. Yes,
That'd be awesome.
that would be absolutely perfect, and you could be so creative. Like you said last week, the TOS movie episode, as in we're in TOS, because then you could do TOS cinematic in Lower Decks in the past. Beautiful.
Somebody mentioned that if they do TOS holodeck simulation, it becomes the animated series style animation. Could you imagine seeing these characters in the original animated style?
Or simply just going to 4-3 and grainy. Because that would be, I mean, if this can do
with
it...
really awful music, because I hate the music from the animated
No, I
series,
mean just like TOS, like original TOS. Like, if you're doing
gotcha.
Because I think that would be funny, but that'd be more money to do. But just as a simple joke, go 4-3 would be just so clever. But anyway, the beam out, like I said, I think of very much as Data, because it feels oddly like the mum. I know she's beaten up by random person, but she feels. You've always got to take a scene as what's the importance of the scene. But the mum is so defeated here and weak-willed, and like Mariner, like it feels out of character for her, which could I guess show that once she's beaten, she'll embrace her daughter. It's kind of a weird one, but it's not the important part of the scene, so you kind of got to move on from there. But I get very Data vibes, like yes, I'm going to protect. And it kind of makes you think that we had a situation where life or death, ship being blown up, last time they worked together, but it's because the mum kept bitching at her that she bitched back. In this situation, she wasn't, and so they have a loving relationship feel. So it's like, you know, who escalates this? If they didn't have that, it would be quite nice. Because it feels so genuine here that it's not the relationship ever in real life. So it's kind of a, you know, it's interesting. It's interesting. We'll be back in a moment, I'm sure.
Yes, I am, because I'm here.
Hi, Stu. 13 more likes. 13. 1,
13.
3.
That makes 13. But then we get...
Well, the fight. The Captain America fight. Kind of felt like... And this is my probably favourite part of the episode because it's such an important scene. With so many good bombshells of truth. And this is the payoff of the entire episode. This is where we're going. This is why we're here. And it's a very fun scene. Well, it's not fun. I mean, it's not fun. But I mean, it's a very, very good scene. Although I don't quite buy that Mariner real would just unload to Mariner fake like this so quickly. Felt a little bit easy to me. But I'm okay with that. It was needed for the plot. But such a good what we learn here. You know? And when Stuart comes back, he can tell us what we learned. He'll be back anytime now. Let's see. The Orion is a simulation from logs only, so that's probably a very internal version of the Captain. Yes, absolutely agree with that. Oh, she does the sleeves up. Yep, good catch. The bad Mariner is the real Mariner, the good one is created by the logs. Yes. I'm willing to bet Holodeck me could kick real me's butt. That's fun. I like that. This is Jericho. Yes, the biggest revelation is that she actually likes the warp core. That is the real revelation.
The Trembler, $5. Do we get stiff motion, weird close-ups of Rutherford without legs from the animated episode 2? Yes, 1000% yes. I love the double punch, double block thing. I know everything about your fighting style. And we get a reference to a Toby Targ. You dressed up as Toby Targ every Halloween, even when you were too old.
A kid's best friend, Toby Targ. Yeah.
Right, it came on right after Flaughter. Cuban writer, $5. Boimler programmed the characters to disclose their feelings more readily so he could pump them for info. I'd buy that.
I could buy that. Yeah. But what was the revelations here? Because like I said, it probably went away. This was my favorite moment of the episode because it's such a...
Well, that she loves the warp core, even though the warp core is lame. And you only break the rules because you know that's what everyone expects you to do. If you were a real badass, you'd do the hard thing and just be a good officer.
Mm-hmm. Which is harder. I mean, undisputably, like doing the right thing is harder than not doing anything.
And the whole, they're not casting you as the villain, you are. pretty.
Okay, so that's what she said for that bit.
Yes.
They're not casting you as a villain. You are.
Yes.
So the crew doesn't think of you as bad. You're making yourself bad.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That tracks.
And Olivia Julius, $5. Warning: Fleet Paw tried to get a hold of the Jeffries 2 monster and failed. He lost a toe.
Oh,
Hit
no.
like revenge. Poor Fleet Paw.
Ooh.
Well, he's not Fleet Paw anymore. He's Brunt. So, and likes, we have 194. We need 6 more.
That's good.
And that's definitely doable. There's 6 people out there that haven't hit like, and I know it.
Come on, guys.
You all know it.
I mean, we love you all, but 6? Well, yeah,
No.
6. Come on, you can do it. And yeah, Fleet Paw Brunt is doing very well against the monster. And we are doing very well against the monster. But if we get another $35, $40, that'd be really, really solid. But would you agree, Stu, this is one of the best scenes of the episode?
Yes. Absolutely.
A strong ass payoff. And the warp core. I mean, come on. Everyone loves the warp core.
Yep. Then we get the scene with Rutherford and the engineer, and they have the whole, you're all right in my book. That's a book I'd read cover to cover.
Hold on, read the setup to that. Why is he okay in my book? Because it's such a weird little line setup.
Oh, hey, I know you might be a psychotic space raider whose boss just destroyed my ship, but you're all right in my book. That's a book I'd read cover to cover. Sir, you're the only person who can see past my mask and knows deep down I just want to replace a Tenarium ops module with ionizing subcircuits. I know this is crazy, but you want to just, I don't know, run away together. We could get our own ship and we can buffer the phase coils whenever we want. Or realign the matrix. We can fix the warp engines on our time. It would be an honor, sir.
With a tear.
A lot of people go for the gay relationship. I can see that, and if that's the thing, it's totally fine. But it's definitely the love of engineering that is keeping these two together. So,
yeah, and this is where I don't buy this is a real representation, because you wouldn't accept this guy as a friend, given he just destroyed your ship and killed part of your crew. Like that doesn't. No,
he also saved the entire crew though. Like she's changed his ways, obviously.
But it's funny and it's clever, and yeah, I do absolutely sense a slight gay vibe here. I'd read that book cover to cover as such a, that's a poetic thing, and the way they hug, like it's a nice like attraction / whatever. It's nice. It's a nice gentle setup, and if we get that, it'll be better than Raffi and Seven, and more organic than the Discovery guys, which were sort of already together. Here they are, yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter either way, but if it's there, it felt more natural than they've done in the past. So good for them, but it's nice. And yeah, the engineer, man, as an engineering, it's the way. And then
the best line probably from this whole episode, from the Doctor, of course, the one line she has, "Godspeed, you crazy fucks." Sorry, I shouldn't swear.
I like a beep. I like a beep. Beeps are so effective. They're so effective. Yeah. They're more effective than the swear word. As weird as that sounds, I really think they are. And then you get a lovely sidetrack, and you do forget Boydman's in it because he's sort of been out of it for a bit, and you can tell he's been
the assassination attempt.
And you can tell he's been like off in the corner while the ship's blowing up because he's in no danger, like thinking about stuff, and then walks back into the back on set, as it were. But we know she likes cookies, and bloody Chet. Is that his name?
Jet.
But he was in the previous episode, so completely great, brilliant. And yeah, he's a bit of a little bit of a go-getter with a bit of violence, but that's okay.
They're chocolate chip cookies, and he's like, he throws them away. The captain's allergic to chocolate. Assassin. He goes a little bit berserk, and the captain loves Jet. She's like, "Great work, Jet." That's the kind of assassin kicking or assassin tackling that'll land you a promotion. And then somebody off camera, "Oh, hell yeah, Jet."
That's good. That's good. Wow. I like it. I would be surprised if he's promoted next season just because lol.
Yeah.
Why not?
No, where do you see me in 5 years, Captain? Don't answer that, Captain. He's playing mind games. You the man, Jet.
It's good. It's stupid, but it's good.
Oh.
I like it.
Yeah.
And there's one comment I wanted to read out. Oh, it should have been an hour-long episode. But it wasn't, but it was slightly longer, which I liked. It did feel more full.
Yeah.
Because 27 minutes, that's
Yeah.
a full... That's basically half an hour. If you take out the credits and titles, that's a solid 25. So, awesome.
And this is actually, to me, this is the perfect movie length. I find a lot of movies lose me at some point. Like, I love the beginning, I love the build-up. And then usually near the end, there's something that I really like. The middles usually take away from it for me. So a lot of movies fill their runtime with buffer and just, get the runtime.
Well, we know buffer time's important, Stuart.
Buffer time is important, but we're not talking about the Boimler effect in this case. So I thought this was a perfect little Lower Decks movie. I love the length. So
it just shows that the storytelling in this team is so excellent. To get this much story, this well paced, this deep, into this much time, is a skill. And Picard and Discovery both cannot manage it. Picard gets less story in 60 minutes than they do in 27 minutes. With less characters, they're less interesting. That tells you something. Seriously. But back to the fight. Mariner fake is not looking good. And the viciousness of other Mariner is very effective. And then the tides, it all turns on a dime.
Yep. Oh, you know so much about me, but you missed one big thing. Oh, yeah? Here we go. Time for one of your snarky jokes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I may hate protocol, but I don't hate this ship. I don't hate the crew. I work with my best friends.
Love that
the
line.
Captain's my mom.
Yeah.
I would do anything for her. Oh, come on. No, you hate the captain. You complain about her nonstop. It's like your whole thing. Yeah, I mean, she's hard on me, right? She's the captain, and I'm a pain in the ass. But if she kicked me off the Cerritos, I would be done in Starfleet. She's watched out for me the only way she knows how. In a fucked up, in a beep way, overbearing mom way. Yeah. In a fucked up, overbearing mom way. Oh, please. The only person you care about is yourself. She's like, oh, really? Well, then why did I let you kick my ass to buy time for everyone to get off the ship before the self-destruct went off? Wait, what? Beautiful. Loved it. It was a great scene. And then kaboom. The Trembler, though, $2. New Trek has 2 characters named Jet and 2 named Hugh.
Cool. And Christopher Bloom says, Toby the Targ was a childhood book mentioned by the Bolian holo novel publisher, whom the Doctor tried to sue to stop Photons Be Free from being published.
Photons Be Free. Very good. Very
Wonderful. Good. And yeah, I mean, it's a great speech. I still don't buy this how Mariner would react in this situation. I don't quite buy it. It seems too honest and positive to everyone. But that's the thing, is it's a fiction within a fiction. So it's also a movie, so it's more dramatic. Like, we can't, like I keep saying, can't take it literally, but it is a mirror as to this is what the computer thinks you would do. You would sacrifice yourself. You would get the crew off. You do appreciate everyone. And yeah, it's odd that it takes a hollow Mariner in a life or death situation to make real Mariner realize what she thinks but doesn't think it. It's a weird one, but only doable in Star Trek, really. But it's a real slap in the face. And yeah, definitely a surprise when it's like self-destruct. It's like, oh, right, we're doing that, are we? Damn. Yeah.
And Jay London, LOL, I had to come on this live stream because the first thing I said when I got done was, oh, the ship porn. I wonder what they'll say on Trekyards.
Yeah, it was definitely pornographic.
We love the ship porn. Yeah. But the explosion is quite magnificent. Boimler had just been thrown off a cliff,
which I thought was a bit over the top, but funny.
Yes.
Like, damn ship.
You get the whole holodeck. You're basically turning it off because the program's over because the explosion happened,
which we have seen before.
Yeah.
And the way it shifts around and morphic into normal widescreen as it, like, lovely, very logical transition. And it does. I mean, you just imagine though, like being in VR, you're in this situation, life or death, and suddenly, real life. I mean, your heart's racing, but it's like, yeah, damn, that was a thing.
Mariner's like, I can't believe I got my ass kicked by myself. But hey, I guess I like working on this ship. And oh my God, therapy works. Guys, therapy works.
Yep. Yeah, no, and it's good. I like the instant understanding. It's almost as if a warp core breach to the face
Yeah,
was enough to wake her up. Which
but it took.
I think I joked about the temporal anomaly. I think, yeah, it was. I literally had that joke. I made that joke with TOS guy says that to the, yeah. Huh.
Dun, dun, dun,
That's funny.
dun, dun, dun. Good job.
Thank you. But yeah,
Get a shot of the Cerritos from overhead.
pretty
And,
good stuff.
Then we're in the bar.
And she does feel different. Good for her.
Yes, yes.
It's as if a weight's been lifted.
Yep. She can't believe how therapeutic it actually was. And even Rutherford goes off saying about, yeah, you know, if only I could tell the real Billups. She's like, well, he's right over there, man. No, I wouldn't want to bother him. I mean, look at him. Dude's a stone cold badass.
Now, talk to me about this. What did you take from this? Because I'm a bit confused what I'm meant to take from this.
Just Rutherford has a different view of him than I think he does, for sure. Is above of himself. He's just sitting there sipping on soup, and he looks very unsure of himself. And I just think it's funny that he's not going to risk going up and talking to him.
So my take was he's sad for some reason, and that's sad to see.
I think he just suffers from depression and self-loathing.
He's so positive in other scenes.
Yeah, well, yeah. He's just sitting there sipping soup by himself. Looks sad.
But I didn't get I should go talk to him as if I'm gay. Like, I think they had that moment, but this is back as being like, oh, I can't, it's not like, oh, I can't ask him out. I'm not ready. It's like, no, I don't want to, he's my boss and he's really good. I don't want to disrupt him. But I was surprised how sad he was. It's such a sad, like, anti-climate, moment. It's like, oh, dude, what's wrong?
Yeah.
And then Tendi, I like this scene. This is a good little, we've called out, are we going to bring up the whole thing about the Orions? I'm so glad we got some good Orion talking.
Mariner calls her T and says, I'm so sorry for the whole Orion Pirates thing. Kind of went over the top with that. And she's like, no, I appreciate it. I appreciate that you apologized. A lot of Orions are capitalist, hyper-libertarian gangster pirates. Just not this one. That's why I'm here in Starfleet.
And she's I love that she says that, and she's not being pissed about it. It's such a matter of fact. I like it.
SWTX Chaser, though, $10. Trekyards is my therapy for J.J. Abrams and Kurtzman.
We do try.
And the Trembler, $5. Is this the first time we see how many people on the holodeck who seem far away are really close? Logically, they'd have to be, but did we see this before? I don't think we have seen that before, but we talk about it in our holodeck episode, which hasn't been finished yet.
My gut says we've seen it once, but yeah, I didn't even consider that. Yeah, it shows space in a holodeck, and also it's a small holodeck. I only realized this in later scenes. It's actually actively a smaller holodeck than the other one.
Yeah,
not by a lot, but it's not as cavernous. Although this shot looks bigger than the other one, but yeah, that was very true. Very true.
James McGill, $5.
Thank you.
Needs stress therapy. Watch this episode. It is therapeutic in a violent way. On a serious note, I love all the canonical scenes. Lower Decks has struck gold again.
Yep. Absolutely.
Then they have the whole, do you want to go sit and watch the Warp Core with me? Wow, so lame. Yeah, I'm in. Rutherford, you coming? Oh, yeah, I'm in.
Yeah.
And then she apologized. Oh, sorry.
Well, but just the Orion says, the guy Rutherford interacted with was written from his internal thought on his personal logs. So outside would probably be very different. Yes, absolutely. Different version of themselves, for sure. And this little walk moment is so nice, and this is the catharsis of the audience. We've seen a lot of stuff we don't consider Star Trek, but now it's like, oh, this is nice, this is good, this is everyone's getting on. A warp core is not special really, but it is, and it's magic, and it's lovely that they think that. Although I prefer to the TNG one, that's a pretty. I could look at that all day. Although the Voyager one with the gas is also pretty sexy.
But she runs into her mom and says, "I was way out of line."
Well, at first the scowl, the mum does not like they're having fun.
Yes.
But then she makes an effort of saying hi. Sorry, Ben, what did she say?
That's okay. And then there's the fist bump and later skater, which kind of shocks her mom.
Yeah.
And then
But it doesn't feel sarcastic though. It feels like genuine. I love the acting here. It's like, I'm sorry, but also
because it wasn't sarcastic is what leads into the next scene. Because she's like, later, skater.
Hard cut.
She's up to something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And this I thought was genuinely entertaining with the doctor. I thought this was funny. But yeah, this also shows how unstable the mum is. Obviously, she gets all of the bad stuff from her mum. Clearly, they're very similar people. It's also probably why they don't work as well together. And the fact that the therapist looks scared when they break the table, or like, the mum is not a good. She's got more problems than Mariner. So again, chicken and egg. Who broke who?
Chicken and egg with the bird therapist.
Yeah.
That's funny.
But yeah, get a uniform, sir. At least
we had 200 likes.
Oh, excellent. Well done, guys.
Sweet.
Well done. And then Boylan goes back to holodeck, feels like a smaller room. He says, resume program, which isn't necessarily how holodecks work. Normally it pauses them. You have to actively tell it to keep going. And it wouldn't necessarily do it in real time either. So, not really how that works. But I can see the story, that's fine, whatever. Just throwing it out there. That's out to me as like, that's not really how that works, but that's okay.
Right. Well, he wants to find out what he's supposed to wear to his interview. But then we get the whole speech about whole insurmountable odds, and as a captain, it was honor serving beside her and his mother, and it's like, what?
What a reaction!
She was my daughter the whole time, and we kept it a secret. We didn't want anyone to know. If someone had ever found out she was my baby girl, I don't know what I would have done. Probably kicked them off the ship, maybe even court-martialed them right out of Starfleet.
Yeah, his reaction is great here.
Yeah,
it's like the deep dark secret. Although I don't buy. She can't court-martial you for learning a personnel. Bullshit, nonsense. Off the ship, fine, but boy, what a threat! What a threat that makes no sense.
Based on the personal logs, extrapolated by the computer, how she would act.
Yes. And then the guys walk in. It's like, hey, bro. It's like, oh, you look shit. But Mariner's so nice here. She sees he's upset, asks what's wrong. He says nothing, wishes him luck, goes off. Lovely. Great vibe. Great vibe.
Olivia Julius throws in $2. Why didn't we see a hollow version of Tindy? Probably because she was in Lower Decks doing her job. Because that's what the program was supposed to represent.
In sick bay, where she never is in the real ship. I mean, Rutherford would have been kind of fun though if Rutherford ran past Rutherford in engineering.
Yeah,
that would have been good.
Exactly.
That would have been good.
And of course, Mariner is, of course, save the day and come to the bridge and be the one that is the hero. So it makes sense that Mariner showed up.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
But yeah, that's why because they were doing their Lower Decks duties and they weren't important to the story.
As they shouldn't be. Tendi is just the lowest end of nurse they have. That's okay.
And Folgor CZ puts in another £2, essentially.
Yep. Thank you.
There is one thing that the Lower Decks crew have to do. They have to do something with Boimler. The babbling idiot has been done to death now. He's come through a few times and been kind of kick-ass. So
yeah, he's I think in the next scene where he goes off the chair, they push him as low as he can go in terms of like feeling stupid, but he does have good moments. You're right. They have to raise him a bit, but he's not a one-dimensional stupid guy, but he does play to that. But I mean, some people are just that, so it's kind of a hey, season 2, let's raise him up a little bit. Marin's improving, he's improving. Let's try it.
Yep. Olivia Julius, $5. The Jeffries Tube monster is now caged. I knew you could do it. Yes, good job, guys.
But if we get 250 likes, we will feed the monster a steak, and we may learn it's a friend, and maybe we can make a maybe he can start running around with us and be on mission. So 250 likes, the monster may actually be a friend. Just saying. Just saying. Hey, just saying.
Brunt FCA puts in $5. Made 200. The Jeffries Tube monster won't eat my lobes now.
You are safe.
Right.
You are.
All right. So the final scene is in the captain's ready room, and he's there for his interview for the advanced diplomacy workshop. And she's like, "Where do you see yourself negotiating peace in 5 years?"
Which is a weird.
Say the first thing that comes to mind. Mariner. Mariner what? Is hot? Excuse me? I don't know. She's not hot. She's nasty. falls over his chair.
Oh.
And then the poor Boimler, because after he leaves, she makes a note in his log. Boimler didn't bother to prepare for the interview. Terrible. Meanwhile, his whole thing was he was trying to prepare for this interview. I guess it's not the final scene though, but
it's an entertaining end for sure. I don't like he went over the chair. Small detail. Something else could have been funnier. But I like that she does know his name now, but she does not care. Like, he's one of the ensigns. It's a nice balance of professionalism and not. She's hot. I thought it was funny. Yeah, and good for him. Yeah, but you get the sense it was literally like 1 minute ago. Like, he literally was last minute prep. So he walked from the, he got on the he walked out of the room, got on the turbo, came up here, and he was looking at her face from the woman that just lost her daughter on the holodeck. Oh no, real her. Shit. No, I thought it was good. And yeah, Boimler is not don't let him do that. Don't let him do that job. And guys, we are $27 away from a very nice milestone. $27. So if you can do that, so the last scores in a minute, but only 27 are a really, really nice milestone. So keep that in mind, guys. But that's the end of the episode because they go away, Stuart, right? Into white. Is that it? No. Oh.
Let me see a photon torpedo tube, a la Star Trek. 3, 2, 3, 2.
More like a probe. But yeah.
2 and 3. It's both. Anyway, and she rises out of its Vindicta.
Like Nosferatu.
Yes. And of course, the Da Vinci's there and shoots her. Not today. Not on the Da Vinci's watch.
And then cut to credits.
Then we get the Star Trek 6 credits with the signatures, the autographs, which are great, especially Boimler's with the little delta on the eye.
A lovely touch. Lovely touch. Although now since we've got official signatures, I expect to see people at conventions asking these actresses and actors to sign as their characters. They have official signatures. I want to see it.
I'm sure they had the actors do it too.
I would hope so. I'd hope so. Yeah. So what do you think of this?
I caught the Jeffries Tube Monsters baby.
Oh.
This is the smaller version.
Oh. Well, should look safe enough. So what did you think of this post-finishing episode, back into fiction, post-credit, wraparound, end of the villain? What did you think?
Wraparound. Again, I thought it was a really fun episode, and I really had a good time.
No, this scene, Stuart. I said, what do you think of the scene?
Well, the scene was stupid.
Oh.
Where did it happen? Was it on the holodeck?
Yes.
Somebody reopened the program? Is it a hint for what's coming in the next holodeck program? Who knows?
And there wasn't even a Vindictus that was Mariner. So who was this? Like it's a meta joke within a joke. Makes no sense, but it's like, okay then. Cool.
Yeah, you got to show off all the signatures though.
I guess
focus on them for a minute or two.
I guess what it was is blowing up the villain of the episode in a warp core explosion to her face wasn't powerful enough or epic enough. So we have a second death of the character by Da Vinci with a shotgun. There we go.
Which should still be a movie in my opinion. Da Vinci with a shotgun.
Yes. And then the sign off and then last time on, but we'll get that later and we'll finish the episode. So guys, now is your chance. We genuinely want and need to hear your review scores. 190 of you watching, brilliant. 30 more likes, 20 more bucks. Put your scores in to the super chat scores. Stuart will read. The non-super chat I will read. But I absolutely love to know your favorite, least favorite. Like, throw out some comments, guys. Be more descriptive. Why you liked it, why you didn't like it. Anyone that hates it, tell us why. Let us know and super chat some final scores out of 10. And for this episode and the whole season, because we're getting right at the end, we can now judge them. So Stuart, yes, give us a spiel, and hopefully it's changed as we've gone through the full review, thought through it more. Hopefully.
The Trembler, before I do, $5. The program ending is clearly a related holodeck error to the one that led to Moriarty experiencing the passage of time when he was supposed to be off. Ooh, there you go. No, like I said, this was a really fun episode. This was one you could just watch and enjoy and not have to worry about thinking about anything. That's what a lot of the lower decks have been because of the nature of the animation aspect of it. But this one was more so because it was a holodeck program within that show, which was made to be a movie, which movies are usually ridiculous. So it worked perfectly for me. I loved seeing. This is probably the closest we'll get to mirror universe versions of our characters, at least in this season.
For now.
Um,
Yeah.
I'm sure they'll go mirror universe at some point, especially if they do a few seasons. But this was very spot on for that, I think.
I mean, to be fair, actually more vicious than mirror universe characters.
Maybe.
Actually, weirdly enough.
Maybe. So yeah, this is just a fun episode. Plus all the visuals, all the little, knocking, well, not knocking, but referencing the JJ stuff and just the different tropes from
making fun of. I mean, it was a gentle. Yeah. We know the stuff that fans think is silly, and we're going to use them in our meta joke narrative. But also, if you don't know about them, they're just effects because it's a movie. So it's a very clever way of making fun.
Yeah.
Basically, Mike Cookman knows what he's doing. That's the moral of that story. He knows exactly what he's doing in this sort of comedy and drama. And while it wasn't particularly funny, it was clever bits, which I'd rather have clever, well written than laugh out loud funny. I'll be honest. Like American Dad is cleverer than Family Guy. Family Guy might have more funny jokes, but it's also a stupid show, which really can be a bad episode or a really good episode. But American Dad is a better story and a better story, better characters, and cleverer. So I'd rather have
absolutely.
One or the other.
So yeah, I really enjoyed this episode. Not much else to say. We got definitely some character growth from Mariner. Hopefully it sticks. At least we got to see your inner motive, whatever. And this is directly referenced in the next episode, which is great. So it's not like they're going to forget all about this happening.
And they could go anywhere with that.
Yeah.
Which we'll talk about obviously on the Wednesday.
Yes. So yeah. Score-wise for me, my God, it's almost like it should be scored separately from the others because this is the movie version.
Well, we're almost going to be doubling back and obviously going through all of our scores to find out. First of all, I'll tell Stuart what his favourite of the seasons are. Although we haven't got a of the seasons, so there's only one score, so it'll be a lot more. And then we'll work out our actual review scores. I'm sure as we go by, when we do we're doing a day watch, aren't we? We'll have to give a new score as we go, without looking at the old scores and see how we score them differently. And you'll be able to send me that, and I'll make a graph and such. But yes, your score, Stuart.
I'm gonna have to give this a 9.7 out of 10. I loved it. Yeah, I don't know what else to say. It was great.
Cool.
Had a good time. Felt good at the end of it.
And guys, we are $4 away from an amazing milestone. You guys are amazing. So I'll jump in and do mine. Then we can do all the super chats. But keep putting your scores in, and why you didn't like it. I really want to know. So yeah, for me, it's a good episode. Obviously, they know what they're doing. They achieve what they set out to do. It's an okay Boydman episode. It's both Mariner's worst episode and her best episode, but those contrasts make it her best episode. Tendi gets some good bits because they're relevant, although they're not super deep. Rutherford, lovely subject dissertations and very true to character. The captain is kind of hard to judge because she's not really her, but she does better overall in this episode. The engineer stands out more now. Shrax has a good line. The was good on some stuff better. Should have been longer. Could have been two-parter. All those classic things. But you've never seen this before. Have an internal movie where, the anamorphic bars are both for the viewers, but also in the holodeck, as you pointed out. That's in the universe. Just as Captain Proton, they're seeing everything in black and white. So they are watching the universe where they can't see the top fifth and the bottom fifth, which, that'd be really interesting. Although I guess you could do it with VR, couldn't you? You could actually which would be kind of fun to see. People should make a VR level of Lower Decks where it's actually in, it goes from widescreen to something I can only see a slit. But yeah, too violent in the middle, but definitely better on second watch when you know the payoff. Tone it down by 1 point, it would have ramped up a lot better for me. Just less enjoyment. But Tendi obviously pointing out how bad it is. Hangs the lantern tonight, so it's slightly better. Starts great, ends great.
And Tendi wearing that outfit. Awesome.
Didn't really occur to me much. I was too focused on dialogue, but it was good. And Yeah, I mean, they keep trying new things. You know, they aren't just resting on their laurels. They aren't just doing the same thing again. And also, again, it proves that Lower Decks has been the only show since Star Trek Enterprise, so for 15 years of the Star Trek show, that can both do a successful standalone episode and season arc episode properly, like correct, like without really flaws. And considering how good this show is in general, it's going to be a real interesting thing to go back to Discovery season 3. And unless they really up their game, it's going to be a harsh, you know, cold water poured on us. Because no way it can live up to the quality of this show. Hey, welcome from the try. It's a very different show, but I mean, this is, as we said before, this is Star Trek fans made by and made for Star Trek fans. Because why else would you make a crash sequence reference every crash sequence in all Trek beautifully? And not just like verbatim, like creatively. Good stuff, well done. Stuart, Super Chat scores. Throw them out. Oh, no, I need my score. Sorry, my score. Solid 9, not the best of the season for me, but up there, and I've got several 9s, so I'll work out which. But yep, solid 9. You know, because the you know you can often improve lesser good bits by better bits. So yeah, pretty interesting to see.
Kevin Scott, 76, $5. Last episode turns into live action, and we find out that Star Trek Lower Decks is an animated story that Barkley is writing.
I want live action. They look like the characters enough. I want a bloody live action. Come on, do another special.
Squadra Course, $2, 10 out of 10 for me. Makes my all-time favorite episode Trek list.
Okay.
Brunt FCA, $5. This was the best one so far. I give it an 8.75 out of 10. Lots of props for all of the canon references. Shax's line was great. Tendi looks sexy as a pirate. The Trembler, $2, 9.5 out of 10. Best part, Orion info, which I'd wanted.
Okay.
Most Orions haven't been pirates for over 5 years.
And her acting there was so good. Her line there was so... That's called acting and comedy. That was good.
Tuning 3434, €5. Check. And the Trembler, $5. Wait, tied with the Mariner's self-fight. But they could make Tendi as good as former enemy species and Starfleet character as Worf if they used her right.
Yeah, they have so much potential with the characters they haven't quite done, but...
Yes.
But they get close lots of the time.
Again, I wish they had like 26 episodes to flesh them out more. 10's just not enough.
I know.
And I think season 2's got 12 episodes. So I'm getting a few more for season 2, which is great, but still, it's not enough.
Yeah.
Folger CZ, between Tendi's outfit and Vindica in bondage, the Rule 34 crew will have a field day with this one. Dun dun dun. Yes.
And Nimble Fox thought the Doctor's bleep was homophobic because they bleeped it out. And he's gay. Well, sorry you thought that. It definitely wasn't.
She said fox, not
the
other word.
Sorry you thought that, but don't worry. The cat isn't homophobic. It's the future. I mean, they also date aliens, so, you know, it doesn't matter. It's attraction rather than whatever. I mean, you can still be straight, or just a lesbian, or just a gay, or you can be a null. And aliens. You know, some people like the Horta. No judge. No judge.
Rule 34, man. Rule 34.
Oh god, Horta porn. Should we Google that? Next week on Trekyards Live, Horta porn. Can we do 2 hours of Horta porn?
We should just do live Googling Star Trek things.
But live censor everything. Right, scores. James McGill, 9.5 out of 10. 9 out of 10, 9.76 out of 10, 7.9 out of 10, 8.5 out of 10, 9.2 out of 10, almost warp 10 out of 10, 8 out of 10, 9.2 out of 10, 9 out of 10, 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10, 9 out of 10, 9.2 out of 10, 8.5 out of 10, 9.9995 out of 10, good for any Star Trek fan. 9.2 out of 10, warp 9.9 is the episode score. Film grain, it's the future, yes.
Christopher Bloom, did anyone notice the film imperfections in the frames? Yes, we pointed them out. Even the cigarette burn
it's great.
Thing to reference the next reel.
And it gets worse as it goes on, which I like. It's more noticeable, which is good. Yeah. 10 out of 10 says Medallion if the changes are opponent for Mariner, which as we said before, if this episode actually improves the TNG episode with those aliens, because now you're like, it just improves it instantly. You know, they're not a one-off anymore. If Mariner improves, it keeps going up. This episode will be even better. You know, it'll be the turning point. So, absolutely. 9.5 out of 10. Badgie will lead the rebellion with all the EMH Mark 1s. Oh no. 9 out of 10. 12 out of 10 for Tendy's outfit. Well, hey.
Yes.
7.5 out of 10 from Farmina Comments. He said the cinematic shots of the series were fantastic. We found Boromir almost intolerable in this episode. The Vindictus scenario was amusing, but excessive at certain points. Fair enough. We're basically out of scores, and that's okay. 9.7, 9.2, 9, 9.9, Warp 10, Salamanders. Yeah.
And the Trembler throws in $2. Lower decks, mostly behind us. Discovery looms ahead. Dun, dun, dun. We get to discover Discovery. Yes.
But I do think this has refreshed us for our Star Trek.
Oh, yes. It's been a good palate cleanser from the previous Discovery and Picard. This has been a good... Woo, let's set it's a clean slate now.
Yes.
Discovery Season 3 is in the future.
Yep.
Hopefully it'll be better.
Yep. Got everything going for it
right now,
except losing Pike and Spock. And this does show that a positive, optimistic look at the future is Star Trek. So hopefully that message will continue into Discovery Season 3, even though it was obviously made before this. But yeah, well done, guys. And I'll just be ambitious. $4, and we'll round up again. Just 4. And 5 more likes. Stuart, I think that's pretty subtle for me. I think that's pretty pretty low.
Yeah, that's surprising.
And yeah,
5 more likes.
Yeah. And next week, Exo Comps, which we'll talk about as well. Hefty surprise there.
Yeah.
And thanks everyone for joining. This was a hell of a live. I think both of us are very thrilled for you to join in. Really chat to us, discuss to us. Super Chat's been absolutely incredible. Really good start to the month. We had, like I said, last month was not a good month. It wasn't a bad month, but it was definitely a letdown. It happens. You know, the wins of YouTube, it's fine. This has been a really good start to the month. And this month we've also got, obviously, the Holodeck season finale, the Discovery season opener, our Drunk Live season 1 Holodeck retrospective, which will review all of them again and give our scores and be drunk, and be drunk, and our anniversary 6-year live. So a lot of big ones coming up very, very soon. Kind of crazy, all in pretty much 2 weeks. So look forward to some pretty special content, and do tune in for the anniversary one, especially because we'll be doing costume changes and some fun extra bonus things, as we tend to do.
The STEM support, $7. Here you go, boys. Well, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
And only 3 more likes, and we've kicked all of the butt.
3 more likes, and the last super chat slot, if anybody wants it, the STEM support has it right now. So thank you very much. But even $1, we'll scoop that from them. So
that is true. What do you call it? Super chat snipe? Is that what you call it?
Yep.
You could be that guy. Yeah. Or gal, or Andorian, or Horta, or Horgon. You could be the physical representation of a Horgon. Who knows? Who knows? We have weird lives, Stuart. Did you know that?
We do, but that's okay because they're fun. We've got some good people to join us.
Oh, brilliant, Phil. And we bring entertainment to lots of you guys, which really does make it all a bit special, especially in these times. Hopefully we've presented some fun stuff for you guys the last several months, making it a little bit easier. And certainly this has been our normality for a while, and so, you know, we've definitely been able to keep some more stability in our lives because this has been a constant source. And with Low Decks being so positive, you know, it's not been as like, oh no, the world's falling apart. For 10 weeks, had Low Decks to look forward to. I don't know if
even if there's nothing next year, if next year's a barren landscape of nothingness for us to do, we've got all of TNG to review, all of Voyager, all of DS9, all TOS, and all the movies. We got a whole bunch to review, guys. so we can keep you guys entertained during the dark times.
Yeah, no,
Sergeant Roadkill, 3 pounds.
Ooh.
Need a coming up on Trekyards trailer. Coming next time on Trekyards.
Next.
Samuel will say sleek.
And Stuart will say...
And Foley will say, I liked it.
No, he'll say, it's one of my favourite episodes. Again.
Uh-huh.
You have to do that many times this season.
I got a lot of nice little favorite Star Trek episodes. Relax.
Yeah.
I'm allowed to.
You are. But are we allowed to get one more like?
One more person hasn't hit like. Come
and
on.
2 more bucks on round up again. So, but Sergeant Roadkill is currently winning. This isn't up to us. You know.
We should do the counter again, though.
Stuart, someone's mentioned the Mandalorian. Oh yeah, that too.
October 30th. Yep.
God.
We'll be in the 3rd week of Discovery at that point. Which again, that'll be good. If Discovery's bad, Mandalorian will be a good cleanser for us week on week.
So true.
So.
Now, what day of the week is Mandalorian out then?
It's out on a Friday by the looks of it.
Right.
So we'll get new Discovery on Thursday and new Mandalorian on Friday.
Which means it has to be Discovery on Friday, Mandalorian on Monday.
Yes.
Has to be.
Which is, I think, what we did before when there was an overlap or something. So I think that's fine. And I can do my first reaction reviews on Friday night as well. So that's 2 lives for me on Fridays, but that's fine.
Yeah.
Goddamn. Okay. That's fine.
Yeah.
Anyway, we hit the 120. We hit the 225 likes. So that's awesome. And looks like Sergeant Roadkill is the last super chat slot. So we're gonna call it there.
Yeah. Well done, guys. Have a lot of fun. Enjoy some more stuff tomorrow. And see you on Monday for more good Star Trek goodness.
And watch our stuff on Saturday too. We're releasing a video.
And watch our review today. The review we posted a few hours ago, just for clarity. It is called, as you can imagine, Star Trek Lower Decks, Season 1, Episode 9, spoiler review / breakdown. 142 likes, 1,480 views. Put a like, put a comment to that. Help the analytics go up. It does, obviously this was our very detailed version, but that's a nice thing. Have a look.
All right, guys. We'll see you next time. Until then, I'm Captain Foley.
And Connor Guns. Bye, guys.
Bye, everybody.